Hang on, I think it just okay, making sure my audio was connected properly. Sometimes it bounces back between my phone and my MacBook because I don't have my mic set up. I'm just using my earbuds. Oh, goodness. Sorry, I am not much of a morning person, but Bendy could not stream this morning, so we're filling in. Let's see here. Good morning, Yep. Hey, Okie, how are you? One second, guys. Sorry about that. Pointer lover, hippie chick. He was such a beautiful baby. He is one of the cutest little doll babies ever. Oh, breaks my heart. Hey, Robin, haven't seen you in a minute. I hope you're good. Hope you're good, good, good. Oh, no problem. No problem. Bendy is just streaming the Sarah Jinlu is just streaming the Sarah Boone hearing that's going on. So I'll probably just do the morning session and then she'll be back and handle the afternoon session. Hey, Cat's Eye. Let me see. I've got both Law and Crime and Court TV pulled up because yesterday there was a little snafu, and I guess Court TV cut off, the first 5 or 8 minutes. So they started at 10 their time, but then we know there's a 30-minute delay. And both of the Court TV and Law and Crime have about 6.5 minutes left on their timer. Oh, I miss you too. Sorry, guys, I'm gonna be on a little bit. Mornings are rough for me. I'm gonna pull up Joneson's community tab and read through that because she has done such a great little summary. I've got some crazy chicken scratch notes in my notebook, but she has laid it out, y'all. If someone wouldn't mind dropping her link. So yesterday, day two, we saw witness number 6, and this was Corporal Philip. Man, I'm gonna bunk up his last name, but Schenker, I think is how you say it. Schenker? Oh yes, CapCut is so much better than Canva. Yeah, I love CapCut. Um, he's on the crime scene unit and slash forensics. Now, originally he was called out to once they had she said like once the search warrants were in hand, but I thought originally he was called out to do the drone footage for the search for Quinton. But as he got there, the warrants showed up and he was pulled away, took a couple of interior photos, but then he went back to the drone search. And then afterwards, he started taking all the photos. He took over 475 photos. He examined the front door. There was no signs of forced entry. There are no obvious signs of a struggle inside the home. This is one thing we have heard from all of them, all of the detectives that we've heard from so far, is that the front door was extremely heavy, hard to open, no signs of forced entry, and it also made a noise when it was open. Um, Looking at a set of 114 photos of the residence and the surrounding area is what they looked at in court. And they showed all sorts of different angles. I might pull that up later. There's 3 doors. There's the front door that led into the bedroom where Leilani, Danny, and the kids were, and then there's 2 back doors. And they also showed the layout of the house. Let me see. This was such a crazy layout, y'all. If they would not have walked through it, I don't think I woulda understood it. I remember people had, looked up Zillow back when this took place, and, sorry, I'm just trying to skim through here. They had looked up Zillow back when this took place, and, tried to figure out what the layout was like and whatnot, but what we didn't know is that this was walled off here. So that made getting to the room where Leilani, Danny, and the kids were extremely difficult. So the front door here is in the wrong spot. It should be over here on the other side. But this is basically where their living quarters were, which kind of looks like it was an old living room or something. But this was walled off here. So the only way to get into this space is either through the front door or through this bathroom. So you would have to go through this bathroom. There's a dining room here that leads into this kitchen, and you have to walk through all this. You have to walk through the bathroom, the dining room, the kitchen, all the way up here to this like hallway to go over to the other side to this living room here and either go upstairs or be in the living room. But there is a door, an exterior door here off the dining room. Honestly, if I was them, I'd probably go out that door to go around to the living room most of the time. Oh, wow. It's just a really crazy layout. Mm, that's how you got both trials going. Oh, you kept thinking of Dexter when he was on the stand? I mean, I have a weird our old house had a really weird, kinda funky layout until we gutted and remodeled it, so I understand it, but this one is like it is like a maze. It is like a maze. And again, no judgment, but the amount of clutter and disorder in that house, it would have been very hard to get through. Hey, Laura, welcome in. I know everybody's gonna be there's so many true crime things happening today. We've got this trial and then Sarah Boone going on. Everybody waiting on pins and needles for updates from Delphi. I know I've been watching Twitter. Okay, so Corporal Schenker, whatever. We're gonna call him Philip. So Philip, he did the layout, showed us the layout. Um, then he started going through the photos of the room. Quentin shared with the room we shared with his siblings and his mother. Focuses on Quentin's pack and play. Oh, that was heartbreaking, y'all. Let me see if I can. The pack and play did look rough. It it looked very grimy. That's the word I was using for it last night. It looked very grimy. There it is. Which I know a lot of people speculated on day one, like, "Oh, what is this red stuff all over the pack and play?" Well, Philip doesn't say a whole lot about it, but our next witness, she says it just reminded her of Cheetos, like probably Cheeto crumbs. Little baby, grimy baby hands all over that, which also just breaks my heart because I mean, Quinn was 18 months old. And as they went through the photos of the house, there was in an upstairs bedroom, there was a crib and a bunk bed set, and I'm just curious why weren't they utilizing that for these kiddos? Why was, this little guy down here in a pack and play? Hey, Music City Mom, good to see ya. Hey, Lindsay. Yeah, it was very used, very, very used. Um, and then there was some red biological matter on Quentin's pillow. Uh, he was asked if he thought it was blood, and he said no, he believed it to be vomit. Um, they also checked it with Blue Star, and so but he still believed it to be vomit. Now, I know there was a lot of confusion when he spoke that like, "Oh, was it tested?" Well, he sent the pillow in and everything in, but he doesn't have the results of that. So people are like, "Oh, they didn't test it. We don't." I've seen this in chats all over. "Oh, they didn't test it. We don't have the results." No, he sent it in. This trial is going in a very well laid out chronological order. So, whichever detective received that report, we're going to hear that information from them. No, well, we don't know yet. He believes it to be blood. The next or vomit. The next witness also believed it to be vomit, but we don't know exactly what it is yet as it goes in the timeline of the trial. He showed the distance of the pack and play from Leilani's bed. Uh, oh yeah. While he was going through the photos of the house, there was the ambisol. So she comes up with this crazy ass Orgel story. Oh, the state of his pack and play just breaks my freaking heart. It just breaks my heart. I'm trying not to be judgy, but this pissed me off seeing a baby in those conditions. Like, I've been broke throughout my life. Like, there's been points when we were like paycheck to paycheck. Um, Laundry detergent, cleaner, all that you can get at the dollar store. Like, I mean, for me, there's just no excuse to live in filth. Um, Now, clutter and chaos because you have 3 small children, I absolutely understand that, but I'm trying not to be judgy. I'm sorry if it comes out. Um, Trying to get to the ambisol. So she comes up with a crazy Orgel story. She had to go meet Misty the meth head, who isn't named Misty. Never heard from her that night. Um, and right there is ambisol in her bathroom, which ambisol, if you know, is basically the exact same thing as Orgel. Did I say hey, Queen Bella? If not, hello, lovely. I hate it too. It is filthy, point liver. It's just filthy. I mean, in my book, there's just no excuse for that. But it just breaks my heart. Breaks my heart. Quinta didn't. No baby deserves that. No baby does. I'm being serious. Like, that is some heavy dirt and grime on that pack and play. That's not just like, oh, one day of Cheetos and he made a mess. That is some serious heavy dirt and grime on that pack and play. Another thing I noticed, okay, it's this one here. I don't know if you guys can see it as well as I do on my screen. Is there's like almost like an outline on the crib sheets, like a discoloration. I don't know if that is something pertaining to this situation or if it is, kind of like the edge of the pack and play, just dirt and grime. Another thing, I don't that's not a crib sheet on there, that's just the mat, that's just the pad that comes with the pack and play, because it's the same pattern as this, but okay, I'm gonna shut up about this. I'm gonna shut up about this. He did look just like her rebel soul, good to see you. Um, right, he sent it in, he sent it in for testing, but he doesn't know the results of it. Ask me about my butthole. Oh, hell no, we will not be asking you about your butthole. What is that, a donut? Oh my gosh. Good morning, everyone. Okay, it'll be about you. Morning, Sunflower. Hey, Spudler, good to see you, love. I know, Queen Bella. This could be, yeah. I mean, it just takes a little elbow grease. Just takes a little elbow grease, that's all. It's just time, care. Appreciation into what you have, you know? It is, cutie pie. It's really fucking sad. Really. Oh my gosh, you guys. Let's see, where are we? Um, yeah, the ambisol proceeds to go through other rooms of the house. He does the layout for us. He photographs the garage. The trash cans are empty. The contents were within were photographed. He does the Dodge Journey, which was towed, which is what they believe Leilani was driving around in. Um, there was 2 alcohol bottles in the driver's floorboard, but he didn't seize them, and, the defense got on him a little bit about that. "Why didn't you take that into evidence?" Didn't think it needed to be." There was a white sand-like substance all over the back of the car. It was tested, and believed to be baby cereal. There was also a beer can found in the back passenger floorboard. When they did the flock system, they obtained oh, no, he went and canvassed and obtained video footage from Chevron next door to the Azalea mobile home park. Um, it had a view of the dumpsters, so the camera was at the Chevron, and you could see kinda over a fence and see to the dumpsters, and then they noted that between 1:18 and 1:30, the Dodge Journey was seen, and it did not stop at Chevron. It was seen entering and driving around the Azalea Mobile Home Park. They also made note of a time discrepancy on the footage from that camera. It was 81 minutes, which it was like I think there was 3 cameras in that system, and all 3 were 81 minutes behind, so it all linked up. "You got kicked from Chasing's chat. What'd you do, Cat's Eye?" Oh. You guys out there causing hell on these streets so early? I know, it's gonna kill me. Oh my goodness. Have they started court? No, I've got both. I've got Law and Crime and, um, Court TV pulled up. Court TV is just showing the Georgia seal, the court seal, and Law and Crime just hasn't even started yet, so but I got them both pulled up, don't worry. Oh, that one, I didn't read it right. That one just got Jason kicked you. Oh my goodness. I was like, "Catherine, what in the heck would you have done to get kicked from our chat?" Yeah, these trolls be out trolling. Okay, so then we go to witness number 7. I really like her so far. Marion Lemons with 2 M's. She is on the chat she goes through her whole list of credentials. She's a detective at the time of the incident with the what was it? Criminal Investigative Division, and she had been for about 2 years, but she had also, done work, like I don't remember what it was called, but, like, a liaison with the FBI in criminal investigations. She did, internet crimes against children on the internet, I can't remember what it's called, but, like, she had a emphasis and a focus in wanting to work with crimes against children, and that becomes important later. She was the 3rd detective on the scene. She arrived after 12 PM. When she arrived, the forensic team had just had the drone up, performing a grid search with patrol officers and other outside agencies, including a bloodhound. She entered the residence while on scene and was directed to the room where Quentin's pack and play was located. She noted the smell of vomit as soon as she entered the room, and she was the first one who talked about, like, "Look, this was an overwhelming aroma of vomit as soon as you come into the room." Yeah. Um, well, I don't I definitely don't. I don't want us getting one about their bottle. God help us all. It's too early for this. I barely had my morning bib. Okay. Um, So she said, "Look, the vomit, the smell of the vomit was just overwhelming." And then they play a body cam clip of that. She wasn't concerned at all with the stains on the top rail of the pack and play. She assumed they were normal wear. That's not normal wear, ma'am, but I get what she's saying, from dirty baby hands. She focused on the pillow. It appeared and smelled like vomit to her. A photo was shown of Detective Lemons having a discussion with other law enforcement and detectives from Sergeant Stewart's body cam. Detective Lemons was instructing them to gather all three witnesses and transport them to the main precinct to be interviewed. Leilani, Danny, and Paul. Paul is Leilani's brother. So this is like the first witness where it wasn't just like 5 minutes on stand. The rest of the witnesses we seem to breeze quickly through. But when we got to Detective Lemons, we started to get to what happened, hear more about it. They laid it out more and more that day. So I really appreciate this witness. Before leaving the scene, Detective Lemons tried to talk to Zane. So that's why it was important to go through her credentials of working with children, being a part of the FBI team, Crimes Against Children, and also the instructions that she had done in that field. So she tried to talk with Zane down. He was down at the babysitters, and she was just unsuccessful at getting and keeping his attention. So that was an unsuccessful interview. I was curious though. I wondered if they ever tried to interview him again. They might not have, but I mean, he's 3 years old. How much are you gonna? I don't know. I don't know. But my heart just breaks for him. I pray to God he was asleep. Because if anything imprints in his mind, I just hope he was asleep during everything. Um, the pillow and the pack and play were taken into evidence. Eventually, it was signed out to the FBI agent and sent to Quantico. So that's why we're not going to hear the test results. We will hear them from whichever FBI agent received those results back. Detective Lemons and Agent Brad Schneider conducted an interview with Leilani while other pairs of detectives and agents interviewed Danny and Paul in other rooms. So we're going to be hearing that stuff later too. Detective Lemons recorded part 1 and 2 of the interview with Leilani that was conducted in the lactation room for moms with her cell phone. The first interview with Leilani produced the same story that we had heard at the scene. She put Quinton to bed at 10:30. Excuse me. Claims Quinton was in a pack and play babbling to himself. Now, for about 40 minutes until he fell asleep. This is something I wanted to take note of because the babbling to himself seemed important to her, in my opinion. If you guys watched yesterday, did you? I don't know, just the way that she made emphasis on how Quentin puts himself to sleep. It seems like that was mm, the noises he made was important to her for some reason. That's what we'll call you. We'll just call you Ask Me. Yeah, we're gonna need 2 pips for this for sure. Oh, I hear noise. Okay, hang on, let me switch over. Here we go.
Please be seated. Come to order.
Good morning, everyone. Let's see. I'm almost ready.
Girl, same. I'm barely ready. Shout out to the creators that are up this early and live on camera. I got like a Mrs. Trunchbull
You don't have the cameras on me yet.
bun going on. There's no way my face would be on camera this early. Still got sleep in my eyes.
Mr. Dean's favorite lamp.
So those creators deserve all the praise. Okay, let me see if I can finish at least part one of Jones's before they come back on. Focused on the babbling to himself for about 40 minutes before he fell asleep. Before sleep, she said she watched a movie in bed with Danny, only consumed weed that night. This is the first interview, remember, at the station. Leilani woke and made the Orgel trip in the middle of the night, even though the bitch had Ambisol in her bathroom. No mention of a drug dealer meetup. Court plays Detective Lemon's October 5th, Part 1 interview in the lactation room with Leilani Simon, where Leilani brings up the possibility of Quinton Simon's father, Bubba Moss, possibly being responsible for Quinton being missing. Mentions previous contact with Bubba Moss via Facebook Messenger, where Moss supposedly threatens to get Quinton pending DNA results a few weeks prior. Now, Detective Lemon, she requested the permission to go through Leilani's phone to check. Leilani gives her permission, and Lemons could not find these messages. Detective Lemons then sends a warrant to Facebook for Leilani's records, and they're still unable to find these messages from Moss. He didn't happen. Court continues part one of the interview with Leilani. Leilani talks of insecurities with Danny and messages that she read on Facebook from Danny's ex wanting him back. When asked about Paul, her brother, Leilani explained not having much communication with him as they do their own thing. Leilani claims he is helpful with the kids if she needs him, attentive to the kids. Home from work at 10:40 that night, Paul was, and there until awoken about Quinton. Leilani's first call was to Danny, the second call was to the babysitter, Michelle, and then the third call was to 911. And this was something that was brought up in MJ's chat, or I think it was MJ who brought it up in panel last night. It was, or it might have been Allie. Either way, it was Leilani didn't even call her mom. It was Michelle, the babysitter. And do you guys remember that? I remember Michelle telling us that she was the one who called and let Billy Joe know that Quinton was missing. Anyway, she was questioned about Danny. No altercations between Danny and the other kids' fathers. Gives the routine work, dentist home, down to get kids from the babysitter, home from work, home for the night. Leilani put Quinton to bed, took tablet away at 9:53. Quinton was making noises and babbling until about 10:40. Checked on Quinton at about midnight before leaving to get Orgel. So, and then the court took a break because there was a juror sleeping. Um, Jones, it's so funny. She writes, addressing the children's names mentioned on record, judge says, get over it. Too late for all that. Quinton had not been given any medicine the night of the 4th. And then they take a lunch break. Hey, Kate, the bestest. How are you, love? We have been praying for you. I hope
Are we
you
ready
are
to take
doing
our
good.
places? Please bring
Yes,
out Miss Simon.
this judge is so beautiful. I'm just filling in for Jen Liu. I'll drop her link in a minute. I know, that's what it sounds like, Spudler. Hey, Marshall Dove. I'd like to know. You just answered the judge. Okay, Laura. Mr. Sassy Pants is what we call him, Point No Lover. I don't know. I don't know anything about how much cocaine costs and how much you would receive for $80, but there was also possibly a Percocet pill involved. I don't know. Hey, Andy.
All right, good morning, everyone. We are on the record for the state of Georgia versus Leilani Marie Simon, SBCR 22-03364J6. Let the record reflect that counsel are present for the state. AUSA Tim Dean is present, ADA Jenny Parker, and Detective Lemons, and that Ms. Simon is present with her counsel. and she's seated between her counsel, Robert Purse and Martin Hilliard. Is the state ready to proceed?
The state is ready, Your Honor.
Is the defense ready to proceed?
We are, Judge, but we may need to take up something.
Mr.
I'm paying attention this time. I turned it on. We may need to take up something outside the presence of the jury, Judge. And again, we can do it later this morning at lunchtime. It doesn't matter. But there's some evidence that we expect the state to try and get into this morning or early this afternoon. And we just need to deal with that before we get to it.
Ooh.
So other than that, that's all we have to deal with today, Judge.
So, Mr. Dean,
I think now would be a good time to take it up.
that was my thought too.
Oh, he's like, let's do it now.
I want to let the jury know what we're doing. That we just have some matters that have to be taken up outside their presence, and then we'll go ahead and dig in. Bring the jurors in, please.
What do you think this is, guys? And Mr. Sassy Pants has on a snazzy blue suit today. Holy cow. Leilani, this is probably the nicest shirt she's worn the whole time. I'm not doing like the whole court fashion thing, but just saying. Malice murder. She has 1 count of malice murder and 2 counts of felony murder. Well, Kate Johnson has you covered. Go to her community post, and she has like broken down, detailed recaps of every single witness. And then Allie has done amazing recaps as well. And Melissa J did one last night too. I know, Soup. Good to see you. I like this judge too, Hippie.
Good morning. Please have a seat. Good to see you. Everyone else, please have a seat. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a good evening. Thank you for being here on time and ready to go. I have to ask you these questions. Has everyone been able to comply with my instructions not to discuss the case or do any research?
Yes, sir.
And that's a yes from everyone. And so while we are ready to get started right now, there are some matters that have to be taken up outside the presence of the jury. That will happen occasionally. I think it may have already happened some. So I wanted you to be brought in so that you would know we're not out here just twiddling our thumbs. So I'm going to have to ask you to step back to the deliberations room so we can deal with those legal matters.
Jury's exiting.
Oh, she's got a little blazer number with that shirt too. Okay, girl. Yes. She does not, death penalty is not on the table for that I have heard of. I don't think they would add it halfway through the trial, so. That's what it is, Lindsay. She's like, oh, Boone's all snazzy. I gotta put on my blazer. This is actually a better look on her than the like grandma looks we've seen her in.
All right. Mr. Hilliard, I'll turn to you.
Your Honor, the state's put me on notice that they're going to attempt to get into some text messaging. It looks like beginning on or around September 25th of 2022 up to, and I don't want to put words in Mr. Dean's mouth, but it looks like through maybe the day of October 4th, 2022, of an alleged affair between Miss Simon and an unknown subject by the name of Craig.
Oh, hello, Craig.
The text messages were provided in discovery, and They were part of the phone extraction and they were done pursuant to the search
Hey,
warrant.
Enoch.
Making a statement, let me know, Tim. However, the main thing is the motion in limine I'm making is to exclude these text messages as they're more prejudicial than probative, number one. Number two, they don't relate to any material allegation in the indictment. None of the false statements accounts are in relation to these text messages.
Girl, you know
Number
we
two,
mistakes.
and number three, um, I don't think that they do anything other than attempt to introduce her character into evidence and interject her character improperly. So for those reasons, I make a motion.
Objection goes to state of mind.
Testimony
No, I
regarding
don't
these
know.
text messages back and forth between the unknown subject, Craig. So I think that's short, succinct, to the point. So.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hilliard. Mr. Dean?
The court will remember that our motion pertaining to intrinsic evidence that we intended to introduce listed as one of those categories, evidence of tension, unhappiness between the defendant and her boyfriend. And that has now been ruled admissible. This specific aspect of that, I think, is, I don't know that we explicitly addressed this on this past Thursday, but the original motion, part of it was, and this is in there, the court can look back, and things were so bad between the two of them that it pushed the defendant to commence a sexual relationship with her drug dealer as a form of solace
Oh,
in the weeks leading up to Quinton's
Craig's the
disappearance.
dealer,
And
y'all.
this would be evidence of that. As Mr. Hilliard said, these text messages extend from September 25th to October 4th, so they're tightly connected in time to the day of the crime. And I'll talk just briefly about what they show. I have, as a matter of fact, I'll approach with what I've marked as State's Exhibit 83.
All right,
I have a copy of it as well.
thank you.
Here's how it comes up naturally in this portion of Detective Lemon's investigation. At this point, we've just seen this interview, these interviews yesterday, where she identified the drug dealer whom she saw that night as Red. Okay, she calls him Red. Sometime after that, but still, this is the night of October 5th, early morning hours of October 6th. They go through her phone in some more detail, and they find a bunch of text messages between her and a contact saved as Craig. And they ask her who Craig is, and she says Craig and Red are the same person. So she's identifying Craig now as her drug dealer, and not just any drug dealer, but the ones that she ran off to that night after
Oh my gosh.
getting into an argument with the defendant about about his lack of sexual desire for her. Okay.
Clark Kent
So
is
this
bringing
is
us
the
the
person that
tea.
she's going to in response to that incident between her and Mr. Youngkin. And now, after opening statement and some of the evidence, I expect the court to be a little more familiar with our theory of the case and how what was going on with the Danny defendant relationship, how it plays into what happened that night. In these messages, one, they make out a
Oh, come on, Soup. Like, I'll try to sneak in some comments, but when I want to say a mouthful, I'll pause. But this is totally relevant. If she has these messages with Craig the dealer, Red Craig the dealer, and she runs off to him that night, although, I mean, what can you get done in 20 minutes? She was only there 20 minutes, but we're not judging you, Craig. Either way, this is totally relevant. Totally relevant in my book. I don't even why there's something juicy in here that the defense wants to stay out.
recent sexual relationship, and I'll just draw the court to a couple messages in particular, so you don't have to read them all. On page 9, so page 9 of the document, starting at line 123, This is an incoming message from Craig to the defendant on October 1, in which he says, "That was good as fuck. I'll take that anytime. Friday. No, I made you come for a long time."
Oh,
And she
oh,
responds on line 124, "I would be down to do that again anytime." And then she sends another response at line 125. "And yes, you did for a good ass minute."
okay. This is almost as juicy as listening to Alan Jackson read off what's his face's text messages. Let's listen to Mr. Clark can't read these again. I can't. I'm sorry, y'all. I told you, if you get morning deets, I'm not quite with it. I gotta hear that one more time out of this guy's mouth. I'll take that anytime, she said.
October 1, in which he says, "That was good as fuck. I'll take that anytime. Friday. No, I made you come for a long time." And she responds on line 124, "I would be down to do that again anytime." And then she sends another response at line 125. "And yes, you did for a good ass minute." All right, so that's thing number one. They clearly make out a sexual relationship. Thing number two is that there's some indications in here that there is a connection to Danny. On page two of the document, line 13, at the top, the defendant sends a message to Craig. Starting at line 12, Craig sends a message to her saying, you okay today? Your man here?" And she responds in the next line, "Yeah, I'm okay. He's on his BS today and I don't feel like arguing." So there's some of that in here that they're talking about Danny, and she's talking about him in kind of frustrated tone. So we do think that these messages and the fact that this relationship are part and parcel of the Danny defendant status of the relationship kind of
We
subject matter
agree. We agree.
that has
with you.
already been ruled admissible. They're sort of intertwined with that. And it's further intrinsic to that night because that's the guy who she was going to see and whose house she was at for 10 minutes. This is not just character assassination. It really does help tell the story. Okay. The other thing, and this is similar to the argument that I made for some of the Stingrays stuff the other day on Thursday, is that they in the interview that comes next, they've seen these messages. And so they ask her, "Who's Craig?" And she says, "Oh, that's Red, same guy. That's a drug dealer. This guy I saw that night." And they ask her point blank, "Is there anything going on between the two of you? Is there a sexual relationship?" And she tells them no. Right, so she denies it.
Oh, she lied again.
Again, even if she hadn't denied it, even if she had said, "Yeah," I think it's still admissible for the reasons that I've articulated to this point. But then the fact that she denies it makes it further relevant because she's charged with making numerous other false statements in the same interview. We have to prove that those statements were knowingly false. And part of that involves proving that she was lying up and down about basically everything she talked about that day. So that's why we think this evidence ought to come in. I understand that there is some.
Let me just summarize that for you, Leilani. Mr. Clark Kent over here is saying that you are a lying liar from Liarville, ma'am. That is what you are.
Prejudicial effect to it. However, the test is not whether there's some prejudicial effect. The test is whether the probative value of the evidence is substantially outweighed by the danger of unfair prejudice. And I just think that's a very difficult thing to say. The rules are supposed to be rules of inclusion. Exclusion based on 403 grounds is characterized in the case law as an extraordinary remedy. And given that he was the guy that she went and saw that night after this fight, and part of our case is saying that she was in this fraught emotional state, I just don't see how the court can say the probative value of this evidence is substantially outweighed by the danger of unfair prejudice. I mean, these are the facts of the case. These are the facts of that night. So that's our position on this evidence, Your Honor.
We stand with you. We stand with you, Clark.
24-403 states specifically, relevant evidence may be excluded if its probative value is substantially outweighed by the danger of unfair prejudice, confusion of the issues, misleading the jury, or by considerations of undue delay, waste of time, or needless presentation of cumulative evidence. Whether or not she had this affair, whether or not she was having sex with this person named Craig, bears no relevance to any of the issues in the case. I understand Mr. Dean wants it to be, but his argument that he just made
But it does, doesn't it? It could go to state of mind and what she, what she was focused on and things like that, I would think. I think it absolutely does bear relevance to the case. And I also just want to hear about it.
Made was, well, she's charged with other false statements in the indictment. So the fact that she made false statements about having an affair means that she might make these other, that's propensity to commit a crime. Okay? It's exactly one of the reasons to exclude prejudicial evidence. So I understand why Mr. Dean wants it. I understand why he's asking for it. But that's the main reason to exclude it, not include it. So that's why we're making the motion in limine, Judge, and we leave it with the court.
It's court
All right, I'm going
court
to take a
appointed.
moment to consider what you both just presented. So let's take about a 15-minute
Oh my
break.
gosh, we're already in
We're in
recess.
recess.
She's verklempt is what it is. She got the vapors from Mr. Clark Kent reading that like juicy details, and she's like, I need a moment. I get it. We get it, Queen. Get it. Yes, they are court-appointed attorneys. Although Mr. Sassy Pants is wearing my color today. He's got that coral tie on. And I'm down for a good bow tie. The dude with the bow tie, we've heard him speak a couple times, but he cracks me up because he always just makes, if you watch him when they're on the defense, he makes the funniest faces, and he just reminds me of that grandpa you want to know. He's adorable. I digress. Okay, let me get back to real time, even though we've got plenty of time. I don't know. What say you guys? Do you think it should be allowed in? I just want to hear. I do. I'm just being honest. I just want to hear it. Second chance. You're welcome. I am just filling in for oh, where'd it go? Jen Liu. She will be streaming after lunch. She is covering Sarah Boone. I don't know why I had a brain fart. I hate that title too, The Toddler in the Landfill. I've seen a lot of YouTubers with that, and I get it, but oh, he's so much more than his what was done to him in the end. So much more than that. Yeah, and the jurors were having such a hard time staying awake yesterday. I think if they get these little juicy, like the trial is finally starting to pick up. We've seen that with Detective Lemons going through all the things that she's going through. Um, so it's finally starting to pick up. So hopefully the jury won't be nodding off. Mr. Orange and Blue Suit graduated law at University of Florida. I don't know. Yeah, you know he was an adorable little boy. Like, you can just tell he was. It's just so sweet. Just from his photos alone, like, ah, he melts my heart. You wanna hear the Craig T again? I could go back to it. I don't mind, we've got a few minutes, and then I'll read some more of Jones's summary. Let me go back to the Craig T. I think I can find it.
I think it's still admissible for the reasons that I've articulated to this point. But then the fact that she denies it makes it further
hang on.
relevant. And she responds in the next line. That's thing number one. They clearly make out a that she's going to
Here we go.
in response to that incident between her and Mr. Youngkin. And now, after an opening statement and some of the evidence, I expect the court to be a little more familiar with our theory of the case and how the what was going on with the Danny defendant relationship, how it plays into what happened that night. In these messages, one, they make out a recent sexual relationship, and I'll just draw the court to a couple messages in particular, so you don't have to read them all. On page 9, so page 9 of the
Okay.
document.
Tell us, Mr. Dean, tell us.
starting at line 123. This is
Okay, Gavel, you came in. I'm gonna give you a heads up of what we're about to hear from this fine tall drink of water right here is some text messages between Leilani and Red Craig the dealer, who might have also been her lover. So that would be Red Craig the lover dealer. I don't know, but listen, listen.
is an incoming message from Craig to the defendant on October 1, in which he says, "That was good as fuck. I'll take that anytime. Friday. No, I made you come for a long time." And she responds on line 124, "I would be down to do that again anytime." And then she sends another response at line 125. "And yes, you did for a good ass minute." All right, so that's thing number.
Oh, I was muted that whole time. That's good. I was talking shit. But remember, yesterday we heard she said a good ass minute. Yesterday we heard that Danny was having trouble in the bedroom. Y'all remember that? Yeah, she said for a good ass minute. And she was saying that, what was it in the interview? She was saying Danny couldn't go more than 10 minutes or something. Oh, Lord.
Number one, they clearly make out a sexual relationship. Thing number two is that there's some indications in here that there is a connection to Danny. On page two of the document, line 13, at the top, the defendant sends a message to Craig. Starting at line 12, Craig sends a message to her saying, you okay today? Your man here? And she responds in the next line, "Yeah, I'm okay. He's on his BS today, and I don't feel like arguing." So there's some of that in here. That
No,
they're
she
talking
didn't.
about Danny, and she's talking about him.
But look at how many messages he's flipping through, y'all. That is some serious tea.
Frustrated tone. So we do think that these messages and the fact.
And we agree. We think they're important too. We agree with you, Mr. Clark Kent. Whew. I think that was before. I think this was before she did what she did. Because they said September something to October 4th, and Quinton was murdered on the 5th. So it was all before. I'm telling you, she's just back there in her chamber fanning herself right now. Like, ooh wee. Read with inflection. I know, he's reading very monotone. I get it. The jury's not present. Maybe he'll read them with inflection in front of the jury. But it was very clear eyes is awesome from him, but still. It was definitely an Alan Jackson moment. Oh, so she was banging the dealer. I can't. I cannot. Okay. Let me see. She wasn't at the dealer very long. Maybe she got frustrated there too. Oh, let's go to part 2. I'm jumping back to recap witness number 7, which is Detective Lemons. This is part 2 from Jones's community post summaries. And it's playing live, so as soon as they start talking, I'll stop talking too. One of the phones, either Danny or Paul's, was in the process of being dumped, so Lemons decided to go through Leilani's phone manually. And you can even see that on the interview. She's just scrolling through it right there. She was, though, Gava. Red Craig the dealer. Mm-mm-mm. This is where she found the text from Leilani to Danny the night Quinton went missing. Where Leilani told Danny she would be headed to the 204 area, and oh, now we know she was headed down to see Red Craig. This info was not mentioned to Detective Lemons during the first interview that took place in the lactation room. Also, during the first interview, Leilani claimed to have called the Chevron looking for Orgel and then her friend Misty. I think Jones got it wrong. She claimed to have called the Circle K, and the Circle K didn't have any, so she went and met her friend at the Chevron, but it don't matter. She didn't make any of those calls. They are making note that when Detective Lemons searched Leilani's phone, she saw no calls to either one. When the Celebrite extraction was done, it also showed no phone calls to either. Detective Lemon and Agent Snyder decided to question Leilani about the 204 text in a second interview, done this time in a standard interview room. Now, what we heard previously, we have not heard anything about Red Craig, the dealer, being a side piece. I know we haven't heard that yet, so she's been denying that. They asked Leilani about the text, and Leilani said text sent to Danny about 204 area to meet the drug dealer to pay off a $20 weed front. She went by herself and she left the house at 10:30 p.m. When asked who she met, she claimed a man named Red. She met him at Flaco Taco and gave him $20 cash. Is that all you gave him? Well, they had to separate all three witnesses because they had three witnesses, and Leilani just ended up in the lactation room for her first interview. I know that's right, Avery. She was really down. She's giving him her goods and paying him money. Like, what the? Oh, okay. Leilani claims she decided to leave the house due to an argument with Danny. Did Danny know about Red Craig? I wonder. Said Quinton was okay and asleep when she left, and still okay and sleeping when she returned from the 204. And I really hated this because Leilani claims Quinton reacted to her rubbing his head and cuddled up in his blanket, and it just felt very manufactured. It did. Her saying it felt very manufactured. She claims Danny was still in bed watching a movie and claims never any violence from Danny to the kids. And she said that he never even wanted to pop him. She kept saying, like, he didn't want to do the popping. And that's what she called their discipline was popping. And I'm guessing that's like a swat on the butt or something. Hey, Adrian, Flaco Taco. We know what was going on with at Flaco Tacos. Oh my gosh. Hey, Roro, y'all are missing the juicy bits. Y'all are missing the juicy bits. Hey, maniacs. Red Craig, the banging dealer. We gotta come up with a name for him. I can't believe she was banging her dealer, y'all. Oh my gosh. So right now we're in recess because the judge is for Klimt and she's got to go fan herself because our tall drink of water in the courtroom, Mr. Clark Kent, I think his name's actually Mr. Dean, but either way, he read off some messages between Leilani and Red Craig, the banging dealer, and they were, I mean, they weren't graphic, but they were very detailed of their relationship, and she enjoyed her long ass time with him. And again, remember in that interview, she was complaining that Danny was only going about 10 minutes. So what we're waiting on now is the prosecution wants these texts admitted into evidence and read aloud in court between Leilani and the dealer who she was having a relationship on the side with, and the defense wants to keep them out. So we're waiting for that to come about. Oh, me too, Pointer Liver. I'd like to pop her in the face. I know, I kind of like this for her. Like, Eh, when they were talking about, like, assassination of character, I'm like, she's accused of murdering her son. I'm pretty sure, an affair with her drug dealer isn't going to assassinate her character any further. Come on now. Come on. Yeah, he was a baby. What are you gonna do? I know, Nicole. Why did you do that? You can't make a dentist. I need to make a dentist appointment. I need to. She was banging our jail daddy. Uh-huh. Mhm. Sure was. For a long ass time, according to the text messages. Well, he lasted a long ass time anyway. Oh my goodness. This just got spicy. Spicy. Oh, someone's gonna have to fill Jinlu in before she goes. Ooh, yeah, her reputation's critical anyway. Like, what? Oh, she is trying to pull a Wayne Wilson. Okay, let's see. To finish out Jones's summary, Detective Lemons and Leilani looked at Leilani's Life 360 app and they couldn't tell much because Life 360 won't let you zoom in like all the way in some locations. You'll just see the general area. So it looked like Leilani was at Chevron on Life 360, but she was actually at the mobile home park right behind it. Um, and I wonder if part of that was planned or if just dumb luck that the park mobile home park that she went to dump him was right next to a Chevron. Like, I don't know. Leilani claims 2 trips were made. The first trip was around 10:30 when arguing with Danny and told him she would be headed to the 204 area. That's Red Craig's area. The second trip was to meet the friend meth head Misty, who's not named Misty, for Orgel around the Chevron Azalea Mobile Home Park area after everyone was asleep around 1 a.m. State played the second interview where the above conversation took place. Okay, they're still out, so I wonder if I can. Oh, they're coming back. So I'll read Johnson's part 3 after this, or on the next break. Mm-mm-mm. I know. I just want the juicy detail soup. I just want the juicy deets. He made a comma. That's what he said. That's what she said, actually. Oh my goodness. I thought they were coming back. I thought so. You made your dentist stop mid-filling for what? Oh my gosh. Mm. Yeah, the night of. She went to the dealer's house the night of the murder. She went to Red Craig's and she sent Danny a text that she was headed to the 204, that's the dealer, and she went there at 10:30 PM that night. She sure did. And she sent him 80 bucks that night. And she paid him 80 bucks. She claimed to the detectives that she went and handed him a 20. So I don't know if the man got $100 or just 80, but either way, the man got paid and she got laid. I don't know if she got laid that night, but um oh, prayers for you, cutie pie. I don't know what that is, but I'm definitely praying. Now I'm gonna be looking it up. Oh my gosh. Not at the kiosk. I love you, bitch. Giving her. Maybe Red Craig can empathize with that. But that's what it is. It's Misty the meth head who's not named Misty, because that's what Leilani called her. She said Misty's the meth head. Well, Leilani, her name's not even Misty, so how dare you be like assassinating her character. Oh my gosh. I know it's relevant. That's what is relevant. We have been gone longer than 15 minutes, beautiful judge. We have been gone. Um, over 19. We've been gone 20 minutes so far, ma'am. She's really verklempt by those messages. Yeah, yeah. What Avery said. That happened too. Is that orange gel in your pocket or you're just happy to see me around? Oh, I can't with y'all. I can't. Oh my goodness. So all this time she's crying about Danny being with another chick. This, oh my gosh. Wait until MJ gets a hold of this. She's gonna have some strong thoughts on this one. Total projection in these videos and BS-ery that she was taking in about how I didn't feel beautiful and bold, all this stuff because Danny's cheating. He doesn't touch me the same, and he only lasts 10 minutes in bed, and blah, blah, blah. Well, all while her ass is out there having an affair with her drug dealer. I can't. For real, I don't know if they're awake now, but they will be after they start to hear these messages, that's for sure. Someone's calling Quinton, they're pooping. Oh my gosh, ask me, you're crazy. Well, no wonder Danny didn't want to be sad. Well, there could be that. I think he was probably with someone too, so they're both stepping out on each other. Oh, the Sky. Sky was only like 3 months old. Sorry, we're trying not to say your name. How S was only like 3 months old. Mm-mm. I know, Soup. I'm be angry. I'm gonna flip my. No, I'm not gonna flip my laptop over, but I'm gonna pretend I'm flipping my laptop over if they go to lunch too. I know it'll be epic. It'll be epic. Welcome to the streets, Adrian. Oh my gosh. Well, I thought I wouldn't be able to read through Johnson's last recap, but dang. Hang on, let me check long crime, make sure that Court TV's not just flubbing up, because they have done that before. Just to double check. No, same shot. Okay. Just making sure. Oh, I was reading some of the chat in long crime. Oh, they're getting raunchy over there. I'm gonna prep them. Hey, free, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Oh my gosh. She enrages me too. Like I just want to punch her in the face. I know, like what's taking so long? I wonder if the judge is reading through the messages. The judge is reading through the messages. Oh, you dirty, dirty girl. She's back there in her chambers with her little, I bet she got some Louboutins on, kicked up on her desk with a little glass of wine reading through these messages. She wants to know what's going to come out. I bet you. Mm, mm, mm. We're not hating, Judge. We're just jelly. We're not hating. We are not. Yeah, smoking a ciggy. Yeah, I bet. She wants to know what's coming out. Like a Danielle Steele novel. She's back there saying to herself, "Oh no, he didn't. Oh no, he didn't." I guarantee it. I want to see justice for Quentin, but every time I think of his beautiful face and how cruel she must have been to him, I literally cry. Oh, one is 3 and one is 7. Well, hug your boys tighter, Carrie. Hug them tighter. Her skin is flawless, ask me. It is flawless. She's a beautiful woman, actually. Very beautiful woman. The judge. She's stunning. I bet she was stunning back in her day, too. Because she's stunning now. All right. Well, I guess I'll start a little bit on part 3 since we're still waiting. Okay, let's see. As soon as I start talking, they're gonna hang on 1 second, y'all. Sorry, I had like a sneezing fit. And I felt it coming on. It was one of those kind of sneezes where you're like, you can feel it building. Okay, so part 3 of day 2. This is Detective Lemons. Um, they paused the replay of the second interview and questioned Detective Lemon on Leilani's demeanor. I almost said demore. I've been watching all those TikToks. Very demure, very mindful. Anyway, he paused and questioned Detective Lemon on Leilani's demeanor during the interviews, claims her demeanor was not consistent throughout the interviews. Hysterical yelling, rants occasionally when questioned on the timeline. They had to keep her calm, had to keep calming her to continue the conversation. When questions made her uneasy, she became histrionic and filled the room with noise. Leilani is very emotional, begging detectives to tell her Quinton's okay. The detectives reassure her that they're doing everything possible to find him. The detective questions about oh no, the detective relays that the questions about the timeline inconsistencies. In the second interview, investigators ask if it was possible an accident could have occurred with Danny or Paul, and Leilani said no. She was very adamant about this. She said no, absolutely not. When asked if it was possible for Quinton to climb out of the pack and play by himself, of course, the answer was no. The investigative team tried to keep an open mind, and then they took a break. And then at this point, they interrupted with 2 FBI agents that had traveled for the trial, so they wanted to squeeze them in. And basically, all they had, their job was to go and locate Bubba Moss, and they went and talked to Bubba Moss, verified his alibi. Bubba Moss is Quentin's biological father. They verified his alibi, and they were the ones who also told Bubba that, Quentin was missing, and then later went back and retrieved DNA from Bubba, and then later went back and they actually went back another time and retrieved. So the first time they took cheek swabs, then they went back and got fingernail clippings and hair follicles from Bubba, and then they were also the ones to inform him that, Quentin was deceased. So, that's all basically all Johnson has right now on her timeline. I'm sure she'll finish that up sometime today. Yeah, those interviews with the fake crying and the raging and oh, I can't. And she did, like, when she wanted to get out of a bind in the interview process, what did she do? She started getting histrionic and raging and crying and making a damn scene. But I had a question last night in Allie's. She doesn't okay, so we know she was on drugs. And here we say the words. It is what it is. We're not gonna downplay it. But, we know she was on drugs, and those interviews would have taken place, 10 to 12 hours after Quentin went missing. Uh, she probably got high around midnight, maybe? I don't know. So, she wouldn't have been coming down. Her actions weren't that of someone coming down off of drugs, nor were they that of someone withdrawing from drugs. I don't know. Her actions also she just seemed like she was currently on something. 50 Shades of Court. Yes. Ugh. He wants swords. Oh my gosh. I wonder what Claus is thinking too, Roro. Mm, yeah, I gotta know that. I wonder if she laughed or snickered. Uh, let's see, hang on, I'm pulling up one of those. I was trying to pull up one of her little freak out moments. Just to give us something to listen to while we wait on Miss Beautiful Judge in there. Um, yeah, I think she was. I mean, she was doing them. What do you mean, Nicole? I think she was the night like at the time he would have been murdered, she was on them. You think like she woke up and then did that? Like before she called. Okay, I should have kept reading. Before she went in for the interview. It's possible. It's possible. Her mother is keep your receipt for your alibi. I love that name too. That is hilarious. Her mom is a witness, so her mom cannot be in the courtroom until she testifies. So no one that I think I saw her brother there. Does anybody I cannot remember what his name is off the top of my head. Not Paul, the other brother. He was there. Um the No, she was not breastfeeding. She was formula feeding. He was there the first day. I remember seeing him the first day, and I can't think of his name. No, I don't know. Maniacs. No, not that brother, the other brother. So so Paul was the one that was living in the house. Then she has another brother that's in prison for murder. He ain't getting out. But her other brother that came on YouTube and went around on panels. Remember, he went on Shares, he went on someone else's channel. He went on Queen Bees. He went on someone else's besides Shares, though. I cannot think of his name. Joe? Was it? Was he had? I think it was Michael. Michael. That's what it was. Michael. But she had. Oh, she actually has 8 siblings, Gavel, because her mom has so many and her dad has so many. So yeah, she actually has 8 siblings. But those 3 brothers are the ones I remember most. Paul, because he was there. Michael, although Michael had another name, but he went by Michael. Maybe it was I don't know. But yeah, he had a different name because when people looked into her family history, they didn't see Michael, and here he was bouncing around claiming to be her brother. Although then there was a clip where he was with Billy Joe and Leilani at the house. But yeah, he was trying to figure out what was going on. Uh, like, of course, he wanted to believe his sister didn't do it, and he came on a couple YouTube panels, but he was there the first day of the trial. Let me see if I can find him real quick and show you guys. You probably remember his face as soon as I do. I had a couple clips of him back in the day, but I think they're gone now because I got demonetized and I deleted a bunch of crap. Let me see, day one. Um, see, there's a spot where they show the courtroom. See him here. He's behind someone. Hang on, let me find another spot. I know I saw him on day one. They normally stand right before breaks. Oh, they didn't that time. Man, he had such a long opening statement, didn't he? Mm. Detective Bobby, he was a sweet little guy. I liked him. I think it was the end of the day we saw him. Well, now I can't find him. Hmm. Well, pretty sure it was him anyway. I digress. They're still not back, y'all. Dang. Holy moly. No, still not back. Sheesh, they've been gone. Let me check how long they've been gone now. They've been gone at least 35 minutes. Holy moly. Well, here, I'll look a little better for her brother since we got a minute. You can't. Here he was on day one. He's back here behind this woman in the black. And I caught just a glimpse of him. I remember it. But that's where he was back there behind the brunette in the black shirt. And I was like, oh crap, that's her brother, because I remember seeing him on YouTube. So it's whenever that one chick's not sitting there. Don't worry, I still have the other stream going. Maybe it's day two. Mm. Boy, they take a lot of breaks in this. There he is. Right there. See him with his arms crossed back there? That is Michael. Like, as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, that's her brother. Okay, what do we got in the chat saying? I mean, yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible. Nothing was about Quentin during all that. It was what was done to this case on social media was absolutely disgusting. But I see it flare up again like this in Sebastian Rogers' case. It's because these people give them the content. And like I said a million times before, it's a double-edged sword because they want to come out here and get their missing loved one's name out there. I'm not saying that was Leilani's case, but for most, they want to, like the Proudfoots and Seth Rogers, you want to get your missing child's name out here, but what you're really truly doing is giving these creators content to run with. It's wild. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm a little hyped up this morning. I was a little dragging butt earlier, but now I'm hyped up. Yeah, she's got some half brothers. Tess, good to see you, Tess. They got time for coffee, and they're having a 5-course breakfast back there. Thank you, Adrian. I'd be mad if they brought me in just to send me back. Well, and they started late this morning anyway. I don't know why, but they didn't start until 10 o'clock their time. Sorry, I got my Netflix is like scrolling on the TV, and it's like the previews of what's to come, and it's some weird alien show. Oh, I hear noise. Hang on.
Okay, so we are now back on the record in FCCR 220334 Jason.
Can you guys hear that? I mean, they're not showing her for some reason, but just hope you guys can hear it.
6. There was a motion in limine by, oh, that's right. We need Miss Simon. We can bring Miss Simon out. That was a little bit more of a break.
That was full on lunch, Miss Stokes, but we're okay. We'll allow it because you're beautiful. That's something to think about, Robin. Something to think about. Dragon butt. I know. He has to be. Could you imagine his whole family? One brother who's a murderer and in prison, and now your sister not only takes another's life, which is horrendous enough alone, but her own flesh and blood. Her own flesh and blood.
Let
Oh,
the record reflect that Ms. Simon has joined both of her attorneys at council's table. The attorneys for the state are present as well. We've taken a break on the defense motion in limine with regards to text messages that the state intends to present and admit into evidence. I've heard and considered the arguments for both. At this time, the court does find that the unredacted version of the text messages is inadmissible. I went through and read all of the text messages.
I told you.
The sexual and salacious nature of some of the text messages in the exhibit are not relevant to the charged conduct. Now, after
Okay, Miss Stokes, we mad at you now. All right. You got gorgeous, beautiful, flawless skin. We need to know your skincare routine. But now we're mad. We're a little upset here. We're a little upset. Okay. Just saying.
To the charged conduct. Now, after applying the balancing test, 403 balancing test, court finds that the probative value is that the prejudicial matters outweigh at this time the probative value. So they're not going to come in at this time. Now, if things change, the court will consider it, but at this time, that's the court ruling. Madam Clerk, I'm going to pass down State's Exhibit 83.
Anybody
So,
else?
just to be clear, is it just the exhibit, or is it any testimony about from Detective Lemons about what they saw on the phone and what seemed to be going on with the defendant and Craig, and asking her about it and her answering? Is it just that the specific language in the messages is a 403 problem, or is it the subject matter in general?
The language is a 403 problem. Mr. Hilliard, do you object to the detectives just testifying about?
Oh, Mrs. Stokes doesn't like the language is that graphic, y'all. The language is so bad she doesn't want them read in court. And we've heard some shit. If you followed the Karen Reed trial, we've heard some shit. Blue knots and all that. Holy crap.
To the detectives just testifying about the information with the defendant and Craig/Red.
Well, my motion had to do with the prejudicial effect of. My motion had to do with the prejudicial effect of this affair, Judge. It has to do with the sexual nature of it, which has nothing to do with the charged conduct, the reason we're here, or anything to do with the indictment itself. So my motion had to do with any reference to the affair, the language, anything like that. So I don't know how you can parse it out. I mean, we know that she went and met Red, but I don't think that there's any reason to get into the sexual nature of these text messages, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And actually, I know how I see it in terms of parsing it out. The text messages don't come in, or at least the unredacted text messages do not come in as a
So redact them. Mr. Clark Kent, please go redact them. Please. That's all.
stand right now. The fact that she met with Red, it's already been some of the testimony and some of the evidence. I do find her meeting with Red is intrinsic. How far should the court go? How far should the evidence go in the sexual relationship? You know, at this point, I'm going to find that the sexual relationship with Red is inadmissible at this time as well.
I
Ah,
understand, Your Honor.
Okay.
I just wanted to be clear that.
I don't
And the
understand.
only reason I ask is the court initially referenced the unredacted text messages, which suggested to me that perhaps there was, in the court's view, some way of sanitizing it or sort of softening the evidence that would make it admissible. But I understand the court's ruling. Of course, we accept it and we're ready to move on.
All right. I thank you for your clarifying question.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you,
I
Mr.
think I
Hilliard.
understand it as well.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else that we need to take up before we bring the jury out?
Parsing, is that what you're stuck on, Green? Parsing just
No,
means
you're
to like
And I take it that we're going to
Pick
pick
out.
up with Detective Lemons.
Yes.
separate from.
And let's bring in the jury, please.
That's what I want to know. Like, I mean, Red's already a part of the narrative. Why wouldn't the affair be a part of it? Well, at least we heard a little snippet. Dirty, dirty girl.
Jury's not entering. That's everyone, Judge.
Thank you.
Oh, that means like organically a part of,
You may all have a seat.
not separate from.
Thank you. And the question is, have you been able to comply with the court's instructions?
Like
Have
essential
you
to.
discussed the case with anyone? No research done? All right, thank you very much. We will now resume. Mr. Dean, you may call your witness.
Marion
No,
Lemons.
Allie. Grandma, her character is already assassinated. We want the deeds. Red's the drug
I
dealer.
think when we left off, we had just finished the interview that ended right about 10:30 at night on October 5th. Is that right?
Yes.
Later that night, did you and Special Agent Snyder interview the defendant one last time?
We did.
Again in the interview room?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I would publish from State's Exhibit 3 a file bearing the file name Interview Room 2355 to 0038.
Give me 1 second, Judge. I just want to make sure. Mr. Dean and I discussed it, Judge. There'll be a little bit edited at the end, but other than that, no objection.
Thank you, Mr. Hilliard. Mr. Dean, you may proceed.
Look, I'm gonna need them to get it together. I thought finally, okay, we're back in court. We have not done anything yet today. We've been live an hour and a half. They're gonna get into it. I can go take a bathroom break. As soon as I step away, dead air. Like, court, I'm gonna need you to get it together, please. Please. All right. Thank you.
I may proceed. We'll see whether I can.
All right.
I'm back to you.
Hello.
Like we've come in here several times and told you.
Like I've been opening up everything that I could, and wherever I didn't clarify or say right, whenever I've clarified, I would never be the reason when something happened to my baby. You can understand that. I'm so serious.
Well, they always say that. Just relax. Just relax.
It's hard to relax. And not only have I lost my son this morning when I woke up, he's not there. But by the end of the night, I'm sitting there being told that everything looks like it's my fault. It's my fault because I put my son in bed last night and woke up to him being gone. That's my fault.
There's so many inconsistencies we don't understand.
How? I've even sat there and like 360 for hell, pulled up anything that I could to show that this is what happened. This is where I went. This is what I did. Here's the proof that this is where I went. Every time I'm in my house, you can ask Sammy, you can ask everybody that them babies were all in that room. Every single one was in that room. When I went to bed, every single one was in that room. And yes, they were perfectly fine. Yes, they were breathing. Yes, he moved when I touched him. Yes, they were all in there. And they were perfectly okay. Okay? And then I got up, it was done. You want to talk about his worst nightmare? A mother's worst nightmare is not knowing dang well at all if her child is even okay or not. A mother's worst nightmare is not knowing if you are ever going to even know what actually happened to your baby. It's not sitting there wondering if he's going to get a proper funeral. He's wondering if he's ever going to get one at all. He's wondering if he's ever going to know what happened to him.
Let's just say he's not going to until you let us know the accident that happened.
There's nothing that happened. And I'm going to say that there's no accident. There's no inconsistency. But because I forgot to say something about my hand back up front, and then I came out clear and true about it. Told you about it. No, I did not. I did not take a Percocet right now. I'm going to go piss in the cup for you right now.
What did you do?
Right now. It was the Oreo. There's even Oreo in that freaking bathroom thing. There's one that's empty, which is the one that I ran out of when I called and asked to see if I had more. To see if they had more. No. So I got the one from her. Now there's one in there that's empty and there's one that's not. You'll see that in that bathroom. It's in the mirror.
Can
Okay.
you recall exactly when you left and where you met?
Yes.
I'm sorry, but that was fake as fuck, Leilani. That whole, like, raging incident just there, it comes across fake to me. I'm just gonna tell you how I feel.
Misty. Exactly where I met her at. Right there. Like where those mailboxes and stuff you got. Yeah, bro.
What's Misty's last name?
I can't recall. I worked with her over before Sky was born. Before Sky was born.
We got to talk to Misty right now. How do you know her?
We were on the phone because I had a number in there. That's what I called her. I downloaded text now and tried to call that, and I called it and got through to her. So I asked her to stay upset that you still have those mouth buttons you have going on. She said, big old thing right here. I can give you where she works at. I can at least give you that. She works at Bojangles. Bojangles on 17. On Akichi and 17. I can give you that. I don't know her last name.
White lady or black lady?
White lady. White lady? 4'11" maybe. 4'12".
How old is she?
40s. Late 30s, early 40s.
What kind of car does she drive?
She walks. Which is why I had a couple of boys with her.
What shift does she work at Bojangles?
I can't tell you that no more. They were not even open up for dinner when I was there and I was working there, and they are now. So I can't tell you what shift she's working.
What kind of car was she driving when you met her at Bojangles?
She lives over there by Chevron or whatever. So she walked up and met me at the front of her neighborhood and gave it to me.
What other cars were there when you met her?
There was a tan older car, almost like a cop car Ford something. or whatever, Tam's sitting in her driveway.
In her driveway or the driveway or at the showroom?
No, like when I pulled up, I could see like where she lived at. You could see her walk out of her driveway and walk up, and I'm pretty sure that was in her driveway of the tan car. So, but I've never seen her drive a car at all, ever. She's always walked to work and walked home, to the point that I was giving her rides because it was too hot at one point to do that. So,
And when did the cereal spill in the back of the car?
that's the thing. I want money. And like over a month, my friend gave me a big old bag of a whole bunch of baby cereal that she didn't have anything to do with. I put it in the car.
What type of baby cereal? Like the
First-
stuff that you put, like it's almost like a rice consistency?
It's rice or oatmeal is what it is. And
What
it
type
was
of container was it in?
the actual container itself that comes in from the store.
What does that look like?
It's blue and it's about this big and it comes up like this, and there's a screw on top that pops open. Oh, whatever.
And what happened? How did it come?
Two of them that she gave me, she had just opened and she tried it with her baby, her 9-month-old baby, and it didn't work very well with him. So she gave me those and a whole bunch of the other ones that she bought. When I put it back in the car, got home, took it out, the bag ripped, it fell, it spilled. Got another bag, collected up what I could, and took it inside. I still have all that baby cereal from that day except for that one.
And just describe to me again when you.
Just that whole ass story is a lie. The past 5 minutes is a lie, and it just flows from her lips with ease. That's what astounds me with these people. Like how easy it is for them to lie.
You came home at 10:50.
That was from Leaving Red.
I was leaving that, and that's when you went and you rubbed Quinton's hair.
I moved his hair out of his face and did this right here, and when I did, he said, and curled up. Exactly like that. Don't even like, it's like touching me and curled up.
And then when you left again, when you left to go meet Missy,
And it was like 1:13.
did you go by and check on Quinton as you walked out the door?
Yes. Yeah, and he was fine. He was still in the same position he was in when I moved his hair.
And what door did you walk out?
The back door.
The back door? At what time?
I can't remember exactly what time I walked out. I left the house like 1:13, so I probably walked out about 1:12, 1:11, and got in the car. And I went out the back door. That's where we park all the cars at. That's where we park them all at. So we always only use that back door. That front door is only ever used to sit outside to smoke. Or let the kids play in the front yard.
Have you ever left your house without your phone before?
Without my phone? No, I always have my phone on me.
Everywhere you go?
Everywhere I go, work, home, even if it's dead, I have it on me. Always. Now, I do fail to charge it all the time, but I normally,
At any point last night, did your phone go dead and you didn't have a charge?
my phone was on at all times last night. It was even plugged in next to the bed when I did lay down. When I did get in the cars, the phone's out 2 or 3 or 4%, so I did plug it in. If it wasn't plugged in, it would have died, and my trips, both times would have ended, you know, before I even got home. Y'all would have seen the time that I arrived home if it didn't stay on.
Do you normally meet Red out there at the Flacco's Tacos area?
In that general area, normally it's ride share that we got ride share across, but it had a lot of people there, and there was road work going to avoid.
Where or who like coordinates with Red?
What?
You or Danny? Or like who talks to Red?
Honestly, it's got multiple different numbers, so like we message or we call one, or I'll get in contact with like his cousin. His name's Craig or whatever, and ask. It's never like he never has the same.
You said Craig?
Yeah, I got in contact with Craig and I'll ask him, but that's just because they live at the same property.
Where they live at?
For our street name is right after that red share. It's like one of the first driveways after the red share on the left hand side. One of the very first driveways.
Is it just Red and Craig there?
Yeah. And some other lady that lives in the back, but that's none of my business. That's the whole of the property.
Okay.
So,
Is it just you that kind of deals with them, or does Danny too?
and we both did.
Both do.
We both did. Just whoever decides to go, if we do decide to go.
Okay. Do they both deal the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll do the same thing. They don't even do nothing more than that. That's just what they do. They get a hold of pills and get a hold of weed.
Gotcha.
How long a time, or, minutes, seconds did you interact with Mitzi?
Missy, she walked up. I said, "Hey girl, how you doing?" She said, "I'm good." She was like, "How's your mouth?" I said, "Good, good." She was taking her out, but it's hurting like hell. She was like, "Here you go." So that was literally like probably 2 minute conversation, and then she went home. And I got in the car and went home.
Did the ordeal give you any relief?
Enough relief to lay down long enough to fall asleep. When I woke up, my mouth was still hurting like hell, but it stayed down back here. The way that I did it with a cotton ball and putting the orgeat on it, and then just kind of biting down on it. It stayed down long enough for me to.
You found that the Percocets helped with that some?
I didn't take no Percocets back. I haven't taken Percocets in a long time, and I'm not taking any of them. If I do get them from somebody, it's getting them for somebody. So, all I did was cotton ball, orgeat was on the middle of it, all it up, put it in my mouth, bit on it. When I bit on it, my saliva going in it, made the orgeat come out, and stay in this juvenile area, which allowed my mouth to get numb enough to let go and go sleep.
All right, I've stopped the playback at 13 minutes and 47 seconds after midnight on October 6th of 2022. Now, you mentioned that you did go through the defendant's phone that day
I did.
manually. You talked about just thumbing through the actual phone itself.
Yes.
Did you look at the cell brite extraction that day, or was it just manual review?
For me, it was just manual.
Did you look in her text messages with Danny Youngkin?
Yes.
And in those text messages, did you see anything that was notable to you in terms of unsent messages?
I did.
Can you tell us about that?
There was a drafted message at the bottom that said getting Oragel
When
or
you
headed to get Oragel.
headed getting Oragel or headed to get Oragel?
Yes, sir.
Pardon me for interrupting you. When you say a drafted text message at the bottom, can you just walk us through? I mean, I think everybody probably has cell phone.
Sure.
Can you walk us through very as clearly as you can what you mean?
Yeah, when you go to text somebody on your phone, you hit the little bubble at the bottom, type what you need to, but you have to send before it actually goes to that person. This was just the draft before she sent it to Daniel.
Just in the box where you type, but you're not hit send yet.
Yes.
Send yet. Okay. On this day, was the defendant kept in the room the entire time?
No.
Was she allowed to go out and smoke?
Yes,
Did that happen multiple times?
it did.
And in fact, on one occasion, did she just show herself out to smoke and walk out?
Yes,
Was she provided with food
several times.
and water?
Yes.
Now, at what point in the day, I guess it's now we're on the morning of the 6th, right?
Yes.
At what point did y'all decide it was time to wrap up and get some sleep?
Well, we had finished at her residence, and shortly after this interview, we arranged transport for the whole family to return to the residence.
Okay, so did the three who were there in the police station that day go back to the house?
They did.
And did you stay there working, or did you go home and get some sleep, or what?
I stayed there for a little while and went home for a little while.
Now, I want to talk to you about the following days. Was there an effort made to follow up on the Misty Oragel story?
Yes.
And who was responsible for following up on the Misty aspect of that story?
Yes. For Misty, it was Special Agent Snyder.
And when did that happen? I mean, he'll testify about it, but when did it happen?
The following day.
Was there an effort to follow up on Danny's whereabouts on the morning of October 5th?
Yes,
And who was tasked with following up on that?
that was Detective Noble and Special Agent Solomon.
And was there some follow-up on Paul and when he had gotten home and so forth?
Yes,
And who was responsible for that?
Detective Noble and Agent Solomon.
Did they go out to the warehouse and get timesheets and some video?
Yes, the warehouse where everyone worked.
And there was some mention in these interviews of Henry Moss Jr.
Correct.
And we heard yesterday from 2 FBI agents that were involved in that follow-up
Yes,
from the Augusta FBI office.
yes.
Now, at some point, did somebody obtain Henry Moss Jr.'s phone records?
Yes.
And who was that?
I believe we got the phone number from Special Agent Osden, and then we obtained the phone records afterwards.
And was that Detective Wilkins who got Henry Moss's phone records
I believe so, yes.
and relayed them to you?
Yes.
Now, was there follow-up on the vehicle, the Dodge Journey?
There was.
And what did that involve?
A search warrant was applied for and executed on the vehicle where we examined the inside, the outside, and then we also did what's called an infotainment search warrant.
And what is an infotainment search warrant?
So the electrical box that's in your vehicle, that stores data. So what we do is called an infotainment search, and we're just seeing what kind of data is stored in that electrical system.
And what kind of data can you get from those from some vehicles?
From some vehicles, you can get as meticulous as every time a door opened or a light turned on. Others, we don't get anything.
And you as the investigative team tried to do that in this case?
We did.
Was that effort successful?
It was not.
Why not?
That make and model did not have the data in that system.
Okay. But you tried.
We did.
Now, one thing on the vehicle I'd like to ask you about. We heard some testimony from Officer Schenker at cross-examination about a potential spot of blood on the driver's seat.
Yes.
And we also heard him testify that he provided all of his pictures that he took that day to you.
Yes, everyone was in constant contact with each other.
I'd like to approach with what I've marked as State's Exhibit 84. And how many pages is that?
It is 2 pages and 4 photographs.
2 pages and 4 photographs? That's not bad.
They are.
Um, 2 pages front and back.
Correct.
It's on page 1. It's the same picture on the front and back.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Same for page 2.
Yes,
Do you recognize those images?
I do.
What are they?
It is the front seat of the Dodge Journey, one with plain light and the second with the alternative light.
Is that the blue star that Officer Schenker was talking about?
Yes,
Where you can see the spots lighting up a little bit.
correct.
Okay. And is the first picture, can you see the little spots in there as well?
That may be the spots right in the center, but it's not like an apparent red or anything like that.
Your Honor, I would introduce this as State's Exhibit 84.
No objection, Your Honor.
What is 84 is it that?
And I'll publish this in All right. On the screen here, are we seeing the first picture in that exhibit?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to zoom in here. What do you see there?
3 small dots.
Do they appear on their face to be blood to you?
No, they don't.
Can you tell whether they're fresh or old?
No, it's not. It doesn't look like fresh blood.
Moving to the next image. What are we looking at here?
It is those same 3 dots under the blue star.
Now, you were aware of this during the investigation.
I was.
Did you view it as significant?
No.
Is in an investigation, does every item that you collect or every observation that you or somebody on the team makes turn out to be important?
It does not.
Can you explain what you mean?
Especially in this type of investigation, but really any, you start as broad as possible, collect as much as possible, and look at every single thing you can. And then you start to realize what's important, what's not. And this is one of those that we did not deem important in our investigation.
Let me ask you a question, sort of for example, about electronic devices. How many phones are we going to be talking about in this case?
Of significance, 3.
Okay. How many electronics did y'all seize from the house in the course of the search warrant there?
Probably over 15.
Okay. Old computers, old phones, things
Thumb
like that?
drives, CDs.
And we have about like 37 people on our witness list.
Yes.
How many people were interviewed in the course of this investigation?
Well over 100.
And I think we introduced 100 some images that Officer Schenker took at the residence on
Yes.
September 5th. And how many did he take total?
I believe it was almost 400.
Were some of them in the RV under the carport?
Yeah.
Any reason to think the RV has any relevance to the investigation?
No.
Okay. Were some of them in Billy Joe Howell and Thomas Howell's master bedroom?
Yes.
Any reason to think that that room has any relevance to the investigation?
No.
How long do you think it would take to try this case if we were to call every person that you all interviewed and introduce into evidence every picture and item that you all collected at the broad stage of the investigation early on?
Including the canvas that Special Agent Austin provided, months.
Thank you. Now, one more question in reference to the driver's seat and the little spots. I have to ask you this. On October 5th at headquarters, you interacted with the defendant a lot.
Yes.
Was she menstruating that day?
She mentioned that she was, yes.
And did she have to go to the bathroom a couple of times to apply feminine hygiene products?
Yes.
Thank you. Was there a follow-up with these 3 cell phones that you all had taken that day?
Specifically Leilani's.
Can you tell me about that?
So at Chatham County Police Department, our system's called Celebrate that does the forensic extraction we talked about. Savannah Police Department, though, has a system that can do a deeper dive into the phone. It's called Gray Key.
And what happened in reference to the defendant's phone?
Yep. Detective Cox reached out to Savannah Police, and they did a Gray Key extraction of her cell phone.
And did that have something to do with the fact that it was an iPhone?
I believe so. iPhones like to be difficult.
Now, was there a follow-up done in reference to the Chevron/Azalea issue?
There was, yes.
Can you tell us, generally speaking, about that?
Yes, we went out and looked for video footage in that area. The Chevron gas station as well as Azalea Mobile Home Park both had cameras.
And when you say we went out, were you involved in that?
I was.
And what day was that?
That was on the 6th, the following day.
Okay. So you were involved in the video canvas in that area.
Correct.
Were you there when they collected the footage that day?
I was not.
And was there follow-up in reference to the dumpsters and garbage trucks and ultimately the landfill?
Yes.
And who was the point person for that?
That would be Detective Noble.
Now, we heard some testimony yesterday from Special Agent Austin about the involvement of the CARD team. Can you remind us of what that acronym stands for?
Yes, it's the Child Abduction Rapid Deployment Team, and we asked him to come down and assist.
Now, were you the lead detective for the Chatham County Police Department at this point?
Yes,
And who was the lead for the FBI?
Agent Brad Snyder.
Did the two of you work directly with the CARD team?
We did.
And can you tell us about what that involved?
We wanted as much information and as many resources as the CARD team could give us. One of those things was a template for a canvas that our team did.
And what did the canvas operation look like? Where did y'all do those things?
So canvassing, easily broken down, was just knocking on every single person's door. We did Buckhalter Road, Garrard Avenue, into Azalea, as well as I-95 and Highway 204 area.
And what was the manpower requirement involved in this thing, this canvas operation?
We broke out into 3 teams, those 3 separate locations. Each team probably had roughly 30 law enforcement officers.
And how many teams now?
3,
3 teams?
so around 90.
Okay. And how many days did this canvas operation take?
I believe it took 2 days.
And did each encounter involve filling out a questionnaire?
It did,
And those are questionnaires Special Agent Austin talked about?
yes.
And did they help you tailor those to this case?
Yes, he did.
I'd like to approach with an object that I do not intend to introduce to the evidence, but I would like to just talk about it a little bit. And just to make the record clear on what this is, what is this here? What are we looking at?
This is binder 4 of my case file. It is the template canvas sheets that were filled out.
What size binder is that?
It is a 5-inch binder.
And roughly how many pages of interview form canvas questionnaires are in there?
700.
Did you guys also set up a tip line?
We did.
What is a tip line?
So we just used a extra cell phone, and we put up a voicemail advising people to call this number, or excuse me, we put about a notice advising people to call this number if they had any information on Quinton Simon's disappearance. And then a voicemail was set up asking whoever was calling to give us as much information, and we would call back if it was something to follow up on.
Was that something that was done on the advice of the CARD team?
Yes,
As part of the best practices in investigating a child disappearance?
Yes.
Possible abduction?
yes.
Tell me about the manpower involved in responding to tip line calls.
One of the detectives at all times was assigned to the phone and to follow up on each one of the voicemails that was left, to review them to see whether or not they needed additional follow-up.
Does the Chatham County Police Department have a dive team?
We do, yes.
Was the dive team involved in on October 5th, 2022, or the days following?
Yes.
What is the dive team?
So it's, I think it's in connection with Marine Patrol, but it's scuba divers who have the proper qualifications and do search and rescue.
And did the dive team do anything in this investigation?
Yes, they did.
Can you tell us about those things?
Yes. Behind the residence is a in-ground pool that had a layer of algae on it, and standing above it, you aren't able to see inside. So the dive team went in and made sure there was nothing inside the pool. As well as during our canvas, there's several ponds in the area, and they made sure to look through those as well.
Okay, back to me being judgy deets on the mother streets. A layer of algae on the pool. So bad that they had to have a dive team go search the pool. I cannot.
I think you've already said that you did receive the defendant's cell right extraction from Sergeant Coleman of the forensics unit.
Yes,
And did you review the extraction of her phone?
yes.
And did you find any evidence in her phone revealing anything about the state of her relationship with Danny Youngkin in the days, weeks, months leading up to October 4th?
Yes.
Can you describe that to us in broad terms, please?
Through their text messages, it was pretty apparent what kind of relationship they had.
Anything other than text messages?
There was some concerning web searches as well.
Any videos?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
There was a clip that was recorded on August 6th of 2022 where Leilani was blaming Daniel basically for the suicide that she was about to go commit.
Now, have we prepared a couple of exhibits capturing the things that you just described?
Yes,
Do you see in front of you an exhibit marked as States 18?
I do.
Can you tell us what this is?
It is a series of text messages between Leilani and Daniel.
And were those pulled from the cell right extraction performed by Sergeant Coleman?
They are, yes.
Do you see a disc marked as States Exhibit 19?
I do.
What is that?
I believe it is the suicide video.
The video that you just described?
Yes,
And do you see in front of you a document marked as States Exhibit 20?
I do.
And what is that?
It is a web search that was found on her cell phone.
Do you want to introduce these items in as States 18, 19, and 20?
With regard to 18, Judge, no objection. Is there anything? Or 20? No objection as to 19. No objection as to, I think, the photograph. And no objection as to number 20, which is.
Okay, so states exhibits 18, 19, and 20 are admitted without objection.
Your Honor, at this time I'll publish States Exhibit 18. And may I have a seat?
Yes.
Thank you. We have on the screen here slide 1 of States Exhibit 18. And what I'd like to do with this exhibit is just have you tell us the date of the message and read the message, okay?
So this was sent on 7/12/22. It says, I want to feel beautiful, not barely average. I want to feel loved, not just liked. I want to feel wanted, not just tolerated. I want to be able to look at you and know it's just me, not wondering how many others there are. I want to feel like my body is worth showing off, not like it's just been trashed from having 3 kids. I want to feel the way you made me feel in the beginning, like I'm treasured and safe, not like I'm just here because you really don't have a choice.
Slide 2.
Sent on 7/15/22. And I damn sure ain't the reason why you talk to other bitches in the first goddamn place or you put your dick in to begin with.
Slide 3.
Okay, we don't. Oops, sorry, I was supposed to whisper. My bad. Sorry if I just blew out your ears. Okay, we don't get the nasty text with drug dealer red, but we're getting some text here. Just a little womp womp to wake you up because it's been a little mundane. You might want to listen to the text. I'm so sorry I yelled in your ear. I just told Nicole I wouldn't do that.
Or you put your dick in to begin with. Sent on 7/15/22. And I damn sure ain't the reason why you talk to other bitches in the first goddamn place or you put your dick in to begin with.
Slide 3.
On 8/6/22. Yeah, go get yourself some ass. I know mine is good enough. Never was, never will be.
Now, the video that's been introduced into evidence is States Exhibit 19. When was this video? Were you able to tell when the video was filmed?
Yes, we were.
Okay. What was the date that video was filmed?
On August 6th.
At this time, I will publish States Exhibit 19.
Green, you're too much. Basically what it looked like. Right, Katie B. They were all too lazy and self-absorbed.
This guy, his name, and Quinton. Mama tried. Your mama's not here no more because she doesn't want you. I do. I can't love myself. And I can't love myself now because I love y'all. I've been trying over and over and over and I failed. I screamed for help and I don't get it. This guy, you are such a beautiful little girl. I wish I could watch you grow up. I wish I could hold you for your first heartbreak because my mama didn't. Sky, I love you, baby girl. And Zane, you were so handsome, so sweet, so protective. You were gonna be such a good man one day. Just a good man. I hope you grow up and you learn what loyalty is. And you learn how to treat a woman and how to love a woman and create baby. You are a middle child. You're so happy all the time. You smile all the time. I wish I could see what kind of man you would be too. And Maggie, I loved you. I loved you with all of me, all of my heart. I loved you. I wish that the crowd you walked on when we found each other, we were both in such fragile states. And I built you back up. I would do anything for you. But during this time that I was building you back up, you were doing things that would eventually tear me back down. And even now, after everything that I think has been brought to light, hopefully it was everything, right? Even now, you look at me with the same look in your eyes that you have when you talk about Caitlin. I don't hear the love in your voice anymore. I don't feel the love in your touch anymore. And I definitely don't see the love in your eyes anymore. If you truly loved me like you claimed, you wouldn't have done all that. Even when I was carrying your child and hating myself every fucking day, I wanted you more than like yourself. But you've proven that it was only one way. That feeling was only one way. That love, that loyalty, it was all one way. You take care of my kids, okay? You couldn't take care of me. You couldn't love me. You couldn't do me right. So please, for the love of fucking God, do my kids right. And I can't do it. I'm at the river now. Bye, Daddy.
Does anybody remember, without me going back, because it's hard to while I'm streaming, what date did they say this video was? Because the text messages with the dealer was September through October 4th. So maybe she went into the relationship after this video. Just trying to figure out the timeline of it all.
All right, moving back to State's Exhibit 18, slide 3. So is it the case that that message on slide 3 was sent the same day that video was filmed?
Yes.
Slide 4. Filmed.
Yes.
Okay, so that was 8/6. So yeah, I think this was before the dealer, before Reg Greg, the lover dealer, was involved, possibly.
Slide 4.
This is on August 22nd in 2022. There's no being past it when you have done nothing to make me feel better about myself, when you have done nothing to make me feel like you still want me like you did before, so stop.
Slide 5.
This is on September 9th. Hope you had fun with whatever bitch you met up with.
Slide 6.
Also September 9th. You can take everybody else's feelings into consideration, but you don't take mine. You can hang out with everybody else, but you don't want to hang out with me when I want you to.
Slide 7.
September 9th. I really fucking wish I never drove to North Carolina to meet you. That was the biggest mistake I could have ever made.
Slide 8.
September 9th. No matter how much I stress how I'm feeling, you don't give a shit. No matter how much I scream and cry, you don't change nothing. You say doing the same thing or being even more distant or hanging out with anybody but me.
Slide 9.
September 10th. You're the reason I'm angry every day. You're the reason I'm depressed, why I feel the way I do about myself.
Slide 10.
September 10th. When I was pregnant and moved down here for my kids, you chose other women or porn to satisfy you, not me.
Slide 11.
September 10th. When I need reassurance, you continue to change password to hide phones to have it on silent.
Slide 12.
These are both on September 17th, and they are requesting for Daniel to join Life 360.
So that text in the box, would that be text that she typed or more like a link that she sent to him?
A link.
Requesting that he do what now? Reading those first few words.
Join my Life 360 circle.
Can you tell us how far apart these two invitations were in time?
24 minutes.
Slide 13. This one is exceedingly difficult to make out on the screen. So can you walk us through what slide 13 is?
So these are both on 9/18. Excuse me, all 4 of these are on 9/18, and they're all the same hyperlink sent to Daniel.
Separately.
Yes.
Slide 14.
Sent on September 21st. I'm tired of begging for sexual attention.
Slide 15.
Sent on September 21st. I'm not good enough to fuck. Not good enough to even try to fuck.
Slide 16.
Both sent on September 21st. No, I don't feel amazing. I feel like I'm a girlfriend that you got to hide your shit around because you don't want me to know what the fuck you're up to. I feel like I'm just a person that you keep around because you're comfortable with me, not because you want me. I'm tired of feeling like I'm sexually worthless.
Slide 17.
on September 21st. No, I don't know you love me. I know you're comfortable with me. I know you're used to me. I know you don't want me to love anybody else, but I do not think you love me because you do not want to have sex with me. You do not want to spend time with me if you do not want to do anything with me anymore.
Now, slide 18, this one looks different from all the other ones, right?
Yes,
Was this one in fact taken from Danny's phone?
yes,
But is it from the defendant?
it is.
And can we tell that because of the phone number and the way he has her saved?
Yes,
Right. And he had her saved as what?
Lonnie baby.
Now, can you read this message for us, please? Well, actually, let me ask you this. When was this one sent?
So before they get into that, I just want to note that the last couple texts would have been during the time frame she was also with Red Craig, the lover dealer. So projection much? I think so. Okay, we'll let the pretty lady read the raunchy text. Oh no, this isn't raunchy. This is her timeline.
Can we tell that because of the phone number and the way he has her saved?
Yes,
Right. And he had her saved as what?
Lonnie baby.
Now, can you read this message for us, please? Well, actually, let me ask you this. When was this one sent?
The day before Quinn's disappearance was reported,
Okay. What date and time specifically?
October 4th.
At what time of day? And look carefully before you answer, please.
It's at 1:49 a.m.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and read it, please.
So I fell asleep on the couch for a minute after I came back in. Woke up because Sky was starting to fuss. So I made her a bottle, right? Then as soon as I'm about to crawl into bed with you, I hear my phone go off. So I go to check it, and it was like 360 saying, ask Daniel to charge his phone. So when I opened the app and saw that your phone was at 1%, I won't lie, it made me start to think again. And there is a possibility that I'm just overthinking. But here are what my thoughts were. He knows we got to work in the morning. He was just on his phone literally right before he laid down. Why didn't he plug it in? Well, he said he wanted me to be nice, so I guess I'll plug it in for him. My dumbass literally grabbed the charger and then went to grab your phone. But guess what? What happened when I got to that point, Danny? I couldn't find your phone. I don't understand how you expect me to believe when you say I'm not doing anything wrong or I don't have anything to hide, when one, you never let me look at your phone without a fight, even when I offer mine in exchange. Two, you always 24/7 keep your phone on you when you're awake and hide it when you're asleep. And three, never leave it around me at all. SMH. Even when we have work, even when we have work and your phone is almost dead, when it's time to lay down, you still choose to risk it, possibly dying and us missing work. All because what? Because to me, it's because you have something to hide. Because why else would anyone do anything? Why? Because why else would anyone do the things you do if they weren't hiding something?
Do you know what SMH means?
Shake my head.
And so this would have been in the middle of the night before the morning of the trip to the dentist.
Yes.
Was there an effort made to follow up on what exactly happened at the dentist?
Yes.
Do you see in front of you a document marked as State's Exhibit 21?
Yes.
What is that?
The top page is a certification of medical records from Aspen Dental. And then the following pages are the medical records from Leilani Simon's dental work.
Specifically the dental work on the morning of October 4th.
Yes.
Your Honor, I would offer these in the State's Exhibit 21.
No objection, Judge. It hasn't happened in the business record.
All right, and 21, is exhibit, is admitted without objection.
And we don't need to belabor this, but do these records show that she did in fact have a tooth pulled that morning?
Yes.
Now, during this investigation, did you follow up with Michelle McCarty?
I did.
And did you conduct interviews with her?
Yes, I did.
Did you conduct an interview with her daughter, Talia McCarty?
Yes, I did.
And did you conduct some follow-up on Quinton himself?
Yes, I did.
Did you obtain his past medical records?
Yes,
And is this a normal step in a child death case?
it is.
Where did you yourself get medical records from?
The two search warrants I did were from the local pediatrics office. Well, locals in Georgia. But
What was your goal in getting his medical records? To get some of them, to get all of them, what?
All of them.
Do you see in front of you a document marked as State's Exhibit 27?
Yes,
And do you recognize that document?
I do.
What is it?
It is a search warrant order for medical specialists in Waynesboro, Georgia.
What type of practice is that?
I believe it's a pediatric medical facility.
And how did you know to go there for Quinton's medical records?
I believe it was in interviews with Leilani, the family, as well as Billy Joe.
That's a past pediatrics clinic that he had been seen at.
Yes,
And did you send that search warrant to that practice?
yes,
And did they turn around to you his pediatric records from there?
yes, they did.
Your Honor, I would introduce this as State's Exhibit 27.
No objection.
Admitted.
Now, what is State's Exhibit 28?
It is a order, an additional search warrant for some more medical records.
From what practice?
It is the J.C. Lewis Primary Health Care here in Savannah.
I thought J.C. Lewis was a car dealership. Is that not the case? Or?
I guess they have several buildings.
Okay, so they have a pediatrics clinic or indigent care clinic or something? Like
Yes,
that? Okay. It was that Quinton's last pediatrician?
to my knowledge, yes.
Did you send them this search warrant?
I did.
And did they turn around his pediatrics records to you?
Yes, they did.
Your Honor, I would introduce this in State's Exhibit 28.
No objection.
Did any other detectives involved in this case get additional medical records for him at your direction?
Yes.
And who was that?
Detective Cox.
And did she provide the records that she obtained to you?
Yes, she did.
Did you incorporate all of the medical records you got into your case file?
Yes, I did.
And did you turn them over to our office
Yes, I did.
so that they would be turned over to the defense as well?
Yes.
Now, do you see in front of you a document marked as State's Exhibit 23?
Yes.
Do you recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
It is a search warrant sent to Verizon.
And what number is it for?
It is for 912-547-5275.
Whose phone number is that?
Leilani Simons.
Did you send that search warrant to Verizon?
Yes, I did.
This is a search warrant you prepared?
Yes.
And did Verizon turn responsive records around to you?
Yes.
They gave you her phone records?
Yes.
Do you see a disc labeled State's Exhibit 24?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
It is the response I received from Verizon containing Leilani Simon's cell phone records.
Did Detective Cox also get some cell phone records in this case?
Yes.
Did she provide all the cell phone records that she got to you?
Yes, she did.
And did she obtain records from Life 360 directly?
Yes.
And did she provide those to you?
Yes, she did.
Were all of the phone records obtained in this case and the Life 360 records provided to the FBI for analysis?
Yes, they were.
And were the cell phone extractions, both the 3 cell write extractions and the 1 gray key extraction, were those provided to the FBI for analysis?
Yes.
I would introduce states 23 and 24 into evidence, Your Honor.
Your Honor, with regards to states 23, subject to the court's ruling regarding some of those text messages, we don't have any other objection other than that. What was 24 again?
Records.
Let me reverse that. As to 23, no objection to the search warrant, Judge. As to 24, no objection, subject to the court's ruling on those text messages.
All right, thank you. 23 is admitted, 24 is admitted subject to the earlier ruling.
Do you see in front of you a document marked as States Exhibit 25?
Yes.
What is that?
It is a emergency situation disclosure from Verizon. It's a form they had us fill out.
Okay, and what was that form for?
It is for cell phone records.
What's the area code that you are looking for records for?
It is 706 area code.
All right, and whose phone number is that? All
Henry Moss.
right, what's the full number?
It is 706-526-1978.
And who sent this to Verizon?
Detective Wilkins.
Okay, and did he receive responsive records and provide them to you?
Yes, he did.
Do you see in front of you a disc marked with States Exhibit 25? I'm sorry, 26.
Yes, 26.
If you don't, just tell me.
I have 26.
Okay. What is that?
It is a response from Verizon for that phone number.
Your Honor, I would offer 25 and 26 into evidence at this time.
No objection to 25 and 26, Judge.
Thank you. 25 and 26 are admitted.
Have I formally offered 28, Madam?
I don't believe so.
Madam Clerk has,
28 was search warrant for Jason or
Yes, yes, ma'am. I just don't remember whether I actually offered it or not. It's been admitted. Thank you. Now, you testified about the fact that Special Agent Snyder went out and talked to Misty, right?
Yes,
And that you all did this video canvas at Chevron and Azalea, right?
yes,
And I think you said that both of those things happened on the 6th or the 7th or something along those lines?
yes.
On October 8th, did the defendant come to the FBI office in Savannah for an additional interview?
Yes, she did.
And who conducted this interview?
Bridget Brock.
Is she an FBI agent?
Yes, she is.
And did she come down from Quantico, Virginia for the purpose of interviewing the defendant?
Yes,
And were you present in the building for that interview?
yes, I was.
And were you watching it in real time?
Yes,
Were you in the room?
I was not in the room.
How were you watching it in real time?
Through the security camera in the room, we put it up on the monitor and watched.
Okay, so you were watching on like a live feed from a different room.
Yes,
Do you know the video recording equipment in the interview room that the defendant was in to have been working during that time period?
yes,
In fact, you yourself conducted interviews in that room with other people.
yes.
And have you reviewed the videos from those interviews?
I have, yes,
And do those interviews fairly and accurately depict what was said between you and your subject?
yes.
Do you see in front of you a disc marked as States Exhibit 22?
I do. Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you know what that is?
I believe it's the interview from the October 8th interview.
Now, has that one also, as with the October 5th interviews, been redacted to some degree to comply with orders of the court?
Yes, it has.
Does it otherwise fairly and accurately depict at least the relevant portion of Bridget Brock's interview with the defendant on October 8th?
Yes.
Now, did Bridget Brock confront the defendant in this interview with the fact that video footage showed her not stopping at the Chevron, but rather pulling into Azalea and remaining stationary at the dumpsters for 2 minutes?
Yes, she's directly confronted with that.
And what did the defendant have to say to that?
She says that that did not occur.
Did Bridget Brock tell her that Misty had been interviewed and had told the FBI that she hadn't seen the defendant that night?
Yes.
And what did the defendant have to say to that?
She says it did occur, that she did talk to Misty.
Did the earlier 204 trip also come up?
Yes.
And what did she say on the 8th about what the purpose of that trip was.
To pay off a drug front for marijuana.
And is that the same story she had told about it on the 5th?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, at this time, I'm ready to publish this interview. It is, however, 12:25, and I will throw that out there before I do so.
How long approximately is the video?
I'd have to check.
Anyway, you expected to take some time. So I'm going to turn to the jury. I know we started a little late this morning with taking evidence. Do you want to go through this at this point? We can go a while longer before we stop for lunch. That's what I'm thinking. All right. Why don't we continue on before we take a break?
Considering they took a break all damn morning, yeah, let's keep going. Thank you.
Does anyone need a comfort break at this time?
Oh,
I'm gonna say, I think I do too.
oh my
So,
God.
Let's break for about 15 minutes. I think we all need to stand up before we start up again. So, just again, remember, don't discuss the case, and remember the court's instructions. Okay, see you back in 15.
Their 15 minutes are like a lot longer around here. Hey, Southern gal, good to see ya. Hey, Choctaw. Bendy.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, let's take a 15-minute break. It's about it's almost 12:30. Let's just come back in and plan to get started up again 1:45. Thanks.
Quarter till 1. Oh, I forgot they're half an hour behind, so it'll be a quarter after noon here. Okay, I'm gonna talk in my normal tone if you guys want to turn your earbuds down. I know, that's true. If they played those text messages, it would keep the jury awake. I'm just saying. Do we want to go over the text messages now or wait until lunch break? You guys let me know. I gotta go back and grab the stream. Can't believe that was the beginning of the day. Well, she took an hour to read them. Those texts must be like really raunchy for her too. She did say for now, so there's still the possibility that they come back in, right? She does love her breaks. Okay, for those that missed it, I'm gonna go back over them. I see the same person who dressed Sarah is dressing. Okay, now she's a little more, Leilani is a little more put together today, Jen. She has on this sage green number with a ruffle collar and a black blazer. It's better than the Little House on the Prairie look she was doing the past couple days. Okay. The coral tie and the blue suit is not working for Grandma Sherry. Okay, everybody's saying now. All right, let me pull it up. You guys can't hear it because I switched off the other stream, but you can hear someone. You were talking about this last night, Bendy, or Melissa. You can hear someone here. Like I just heard some papers move. I don't know if it's in the court TV room, like if since there's a 30-minute delay, or if it's in the courthouse. You just did something again. Okay. All right. So they started up court this morning, and very first thing, Mr. Sassy Pants wanted to discuss something that the prosecution was going to be bringing up recently, which were these text messages between, hang on, I have a visitor. Who is my visitor? Oh, hello. The
Hi.
lovely Melissa Jade.
Is it time? Are we going back to them?
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and go through them since we have a minute. Anyway, so I was just saying how this started. So they came into court first thing, and Mr. Sassy Pants wanted to talk about these text messages that he knew the prosecution was going to admit into evidence. He wanted them kept out. And yeah, if Bendy, if you want to come up, you can too. If
I'll send
anybody
it
does.
to her. Bendy, I didn't. I missed the morning portion too. Well, like before this, and so we're gonna react to these messages in real time.
And we heard they were between an affair with Leilani and Red Greg, the drug dealer. And we were all like, ooh, say what? So
defendant to commit.
I'm gonna go back a little bit more.
Remember that our motion
There we go.
pertaining to intrinsic evidence that we intended to introduce listed as one of those categories, evidence of tension, unhappiness between the defendant and her boyfriend. And that has now been ruled admissible. This specific aspect of that, I think, is, I don't know that we explicitly addressed this on this past Thursday, but the original motion,
I'm gonna speed this
part
up
of
a
it
little.
was, and this is in there, look back, and things
We'll
were
get
so
to the
bad
juicy
between
bits.
the two of them that it pushed
He's
the
a very
defendant
handsome
to
prosecutor.
commence a sexual.
We call him Clark Kent. 'Cause he looks like, I told Luke, I
He
told
does.
Luke the other day, I said, he looks like Clark Kent, but without the glasses. He
You're
goes,
right.
then he's Superman. And I said, no, because Superman, he doesn't have the suit. Superman
But
has
he
the,
kind of is a hero in this courtroom, is he not?
that is true. That
So
is true.
I'm just waiting for him to bust open those buttons. But do you see Leilani's second attorney? He looks like the guy from Up. He is adorable.
He
He has those
does.
glasses with a bow tie every day.
I
love
love
it.
the bow tie. I
I love
love the bow tie.
Every day he
Hey,
comes with a
Wolfie.
new bow tie. Hi, Wolfie. Imposter. She just wants to be here. She won't say anything probably. Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're up here with us, Wolfie. Okay. There's Bendy. Well, yeah, it's her. Okay. All right. We're getting to the juicy bits.
Relationship with a drug dealer is a form of solace in the weeks leading up to Quinton's disappearance. And this would be evidence of that. As Mr. Hilliard said, these text messages extend from September 25th to October 4th. So they're tightly connected in time to the day of the crime. And I'll talk just briefly about what they show. I have, as a matter of fact, I'll approach with what I've marked as State's Exhibit 83.
All right.
I have a copy of it as well.
Take it.
Here's how it comes up naturally in this portion of Detective Lemon's investigation. At this point, we've just seen this interview, these interviews yesterday, where she identified the drug dealer whom she saw that night as Red. Okay, she calls him Red.
Red?
Sometime after that, but still, this is the night of
say
October
Red?
5th, early morning hours of October 6th.
Yeah, hang on.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna slow it back down now. I was sending Gavel the link if she wants to hop up.
What
Okay.
you doing, Gavel?
Hi, girls.
I don't know if she's still in
Bendy.
here, but I sent it to her. Yeah, so this is between Leilani and Red, the drug dealer.
Do we have a date?
He doesn't say a specific date, but he says September through October 4th. So sometime in September, I'm guessing this relationship started.
Okay.
Calls him Red. Sometime after that, but still, this is the night of October 5th, early morning hours of October 6th. they go through her phone in some more detail, and they find
Bye,
a
Wolfie.
bunch of text messages between her and a contact saved as Craig. And they
Oh,
ask
Craig.
her who Craig is, and she says Craig is
We were all wrong.
No, Red Craig, the lover dealer.
Oh, Red.
Everybody, yeah, she calls him Red. His government
Oh,
name is
Mhm.
Craig.
Craig.
I thought it was the
Mhm.
accent that was throwing me off.
No, no, no.
Red, nope,
Red Craig.
Red Craig, the lover dealer.
We all know who Craig is.
Mhm.
You ain't got to lie, Craig. You ain't got to lie.
Red are the same person. So she's identifying Craig now as her drug dealer, and not just any drug dealer, but the ones that she ran off to that night after getting into an argument with the defendant about how about his lack of sexual desire for her.
Oh,
So
pause.
this is the person that she's
Remember, in her rant, she said that
Mhm.
Danny only lasted like 10 minutes in bed.
Well, and I was confused by that text that we had seen from the night that she murdered Quinton. She had said, and this absolutely is major because anything that
I
she was doing
know.
leading up to the murder, especially within 24 hours, is so crucial to pinpoint where her mind was at. But it was confusing to me, that text message. She said, I guess I'm gonna stop by. I don't remember, like I don't remember what it was.
204.
Right. But it was the way that it said, like, it was just weird, strange wording for me. Like, I guess I'm gonna, like, you're either gonna go pick up or not, you know. But now that we know that she was probably trying to make him jealous, if he had any indication,
Mhm.
which I'm really curious, like, well, you know, I guess I'm gonna go here, trying to fish a response, because it didn't make sense just for an exchange.
Right. Right. That's true. I don't know. So when you guys request the court case file, does it include all of this discovery or no?
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, I can't wait for people to get their hands on this afterwards.
Yep.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, Allie's stuff in her face.
I know. I need to eat too. I'm still, yeah, I'm still in my PJs. I got up at 6:30 this morning, started laundry, worked on making a video, scheduled a live. Then I went live at 8:30, and I've been live ever since. I'm still in my PJs.
Go,
I look,
Bendy, go.
I look hella
That's all
cute, but I'm
right.
still in my PJs. I need to take a
Girls,
shower.
so am I, but I live in comfy clothes, yoga pants, PJs. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go, girls.
Okay.
Hold on to your hats.
All right.
See his face back here? That was my face the whole time.
I will say this just really quickly. When they do pan to the audience, the gentleman here who does control the audio gives the absolute best face.
He
I
does.
do find myself looking at him and chuckling internally because it'd be unprofessional for me to do it on the screen.
Mhm.
I was so confused by the stenographer's mask. I had no idea what it was until yesterday, until she told me. It was tripping me out. I
You've
never heard
never
it
seen
before.
that? They used it in
No.
Karen Reed. They used it
Yeah.
in Murdoch.
Nope.
Yeah.
And those are two of the trials I didn't follow
You
every day.
didn't
So when I
follow
saw
him.
that, I'm like, who is this Bane motherfucker? Like, what is she? I zoomed in.
You called
I
her
couldn't
Bane.
figure it out. Yeah, but now I know she's just whispering sweet nothings and secrets into that all day long. Like, I want to know what
Yes.
she's saying and and for words. Like, how is she? She's not relaying everything word by word. She must have shorthand for words.
I want to know why she gets to wear a hat in court.
And it's adorable too. It's a
It
beret.
is.
I just
Yeah.
adore it. I
The
just
judge is
adore it.
beautiful too.
Agreed.
She takes a lot of breaks,
Yes,
but she's very pretty.
she is beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, here we
Okay.
go, girls.
going to, in response to that incident between her and Mr. Youngkin. And now, after an opening statement and some of the evidence, I expect the court to be a little more familiar with our theory of the case and how what was going on with the Danny defendant relationship, how it plays into what happened that night. In these messages, one, they make out a recent sexual relationship, and I'll just draw the court to a couple messages in particular, so you don't have to read them.
Look, he's flipping through all the messages. I want to read these messages.
May 3.
On page 9, so page 9 of the document, starting at line 123. This is an incoming message from Craig to the defendant on October 1, in which he says, "That was good as fuck. I'll take it at any time. Friday. No, I made you come for a long time." And she responds on line 124, "I would be down to do that again anytime." And then she sends another response at line 125. "And yes, you did for a good ass minute."
That was good as fuck.
Did you,
That
okay,
was good as fuck.
that
And
was
yes,
good as
you did
fuck.
for a
Yes, you
good
ass
minute.
minute. Anytime you get somebody as straight laced as Superman here to read messages that are that dirty, it's just like the cherry on top of a dirty ass cupcake.
Well, and
Love
that
it.
poor guy from Nick Go to John's trial, he had to read both Gypsy and Nick's, and those were brutal. It's not even like he bounced off with someone; like he read them all himself.
Yeah, they were terrible. They were
Yeah.
terrible for a
Oh,
good ass minute.
There's a little
who's just preaching loyalty and how she's given everything to Danny, and you're out there banging the drug dealer.
That's what I'm saying.
My
The
whole world.
projection is strong with this one. Like she's all like worried about him cheating, and here she was stepping out. But he reads a few more. Hang on, there's a couple more he reads.
All right, so that's thing number 1. They clearly make out a sexual relationship.
No.
Thing number 2 is that there's some indications in here that there is a connection to Danny. On page 2 of the document, line 13, at the top, the defendant sends a message to Craig. Starting at line 12, Craig sends a message to her saying, you okay today? Your man here? And she responds in the next line, "Yeah, I'm okay. He's on his BS today, and I don't feel like arguing." So there's some of that in here that they're talking about Danny, and she's talking about him in kind of a frustrated tone. So
They just came back. I had to hop over and pause it. Okay. But yeah, so they basically he argues that they should be admissible because they, the relationship's important. The defense says it's just basically character assassination and the affair has nothing to do with the case.
No.
And the judge said,
do you want me to play what the judge said while we're here now, or swap back over to real?
Swap back over when you go on with your stream. I'm gonna hop down. I need to eat something.
Yeah,
I think that's also part of my problem is I might be a little hangry.
Yeah, get you some food, and then at lunch we'll go over what the judge said, because I found it interesting. And we called it. Like she was gone for like an hour, and I'm like, she's in their chambers reading these messages. I know it. She's reading them like a Danielle Steele novel.
Like a Junie Jones book.
I would be taking screenshots. That's just me.
She was reading them though. She came back out and said it, and I was like, I told you. All right. We'll hop back up later.
I will. Okay. Bye, girls.
Bye.
Leilani Simon, please bring up Miss Simon.
Craig has some game.
All right, Ms. Simon, come back in and join your attorneys at the table. And we're back on the record. Ms. Simon is with her attorneys. All counsel are present. So we're going to move into the video that you have. And is there anything that we need to do before we bring the jury in?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. Please bring in the
Not
jury.
yet. She wanted to take a break and then do this video. So I guess they're going to do a late lunch. Her ass is eating. No, she's not. Oh boy's cold back there. That's what I'm saying. What's she eating? Oh, she doesn't have a hat today. Or no, that's a different one.
Thank you, Bart. All right. And everyone, please have a seat. And members of the jury, were you able to comply with instructions? No discussion about the case and no research? Okay, very good. Mr. Dean.
When we left off, I was asking you about State's Exhibit 22, which you identified as an October 8th, 2022 interview recording of the defendant's interview with FBI agent Bridget Rock, right?
Yes.
And that was conducted at the FBI office in Savannah.
Yes.
Did the defendant come in willingly and voluntarily to talk to Special Agent Rock?
Yes, she did.
How was it arranged with the defendant?
I believe it was a conversation that we had on October 5th to do an additional interview later on.
And she didn't have a problem with that?
She did not know.
How did she get to the FBI office on the 8th?
One of the investigators drove her.
Okay. And was that in part at least because her car was still being held in evidence?
Yes.
And then after the interview with Bridget Rock, where did she go? The defendant, I mean, not Bridget.
She returned to the hotel room she had been staying at.
How did she get there?
I drove her.
Your Honor, this time I would introduce 22 into evidence.
No objection, subject to the redaction.
Thank you. Well, you may tender it.
Before I do that, I want to circle back and just publish one exhibit that I neglected to publish earlier, and that's State's Exhibit 20. Do you have that in front of you?
Yes.
Remind us again of what that is.
It is a web search from Leilani's phone.
Oh yes, the web searches.
All right. Does this document tell you when this search was conducted?
Yes.
And when was it conducted?
October 1st of 2022 at 1:10 a.m.
And it says on here that the source is Safari.
Yes.
What is Safari?
An internet browser.
And can you read into the record the text of that search?
Yes. Is it common for a mother to have resentment or even anger towards her child because of the father or another reason?
Oh my gosh. That was 4 days before Quinton was murdered. What? I have never throughout this thought of it as like a premeditated thing, but what? Yeah, she does, Willow. She does look slappable.
Now that said, I will go back to State's Exhibit 22 and publish this.
Sometimes situations, listen to me, Leilani, sometimes situations happen and it's not meant, right? And people have situations they get in where they don't know what to do and they panic, right? And the night that before Quinton disappeared, right? You had a rough day, right? Yes, right. So your mom of three, that's stressful, right? You had your wisdom teeth taken out. You're hurting and pain, right? You still got to cook dinner for the kids. I understand that you and Daddy aren't getting along that night either, right? And sometimes people just get frustrated, right? And we do rash things, right? And things happen that we didn't mean to happen, right? And then we don't know how to deal with that, and we panic. And I know you know what happened. And I know you know where Quinton is.
I don't know where he is.
Right?
I don't know where he is.
Here's why I know, right? Because the story that you've already told law enforcement, that you've got that story in your mind, and you've been rehearsing it quite a while. I mean, you were like spot on what you told the other people, right? And we've already analyzed that. 360, right? Your cell phone data, right? Where you've been, right? And there's inconsistencies who you talk to, right? Okay. Okay. All right. So we know you to go to the Chevron station.
That was on the 360. It shows where I pulled it out.
No, you didn't. But we know where you went.
It shows where I pulled it
We
out.
know where you went. It's going to be those surveillance.
Yes, I understand that.
Okay. And it's not where Chevron is.
It is. The Chevron is right next to it.
Stop.
I mean, see, the Chevron is right next to it.
Stop. You've gone off this story for a while now.
Look at her. She's so predictable. She does exactly what Detective Livin says she does. When she gets in a bind, she starts filling up the room with noise, ranting, raving, histrionics. Like, seriously. She's caught in a lie. She knows she's caught in a lie. This is October 16th. So, 11 days after he was murdered. And she still thinks she's going to get away with it.
And I know it's not true.
It is.
Leilani,
That's not a way to
we're not going to make any progress unless
I understand there's behind the people. This is Chevron. This is Elliot. That's where I pulled into. I turned around. So we got into 12 minutes. My baby was in that bed when I left that house.
Leilani, calm down. We're not getting anywhere, right? We're going to get to the bottom of this,
Yes.
right? But you have to be honest.
I'm being honest.
We know through video surveillance you were not at that Chevron, but we do know where you were at.
I pulled into that Elliot. I stopped her. I got to the work. We're going to pull it around. And I told him that it was right next to Chevron. Not at Chevron, right next to
So
Chevron.
tell me that again. What did you just say?
She was making a reference there to what she had told you and Special Agent Snyder on the 5th, right?
Yes.
And what is she saying she had told you?
That it was right next to the Chevron
The place that she met?
that she went to. Yes.
Is that what she told you on the 5th?
It is not.
What did she tell you?
She told us that she met Misty at the Chevron, and she wrote it in her written statement.
More than once, right?
Yes.
And that was stopped at 3 minutes into the file, which is 12:32:40 on the timestamp in the bottom left corner of the video.
Pulled in, got the order, turned around, and went back home.
And how did you turn around?
Pulled straight around the neighborhood.
What neighborhood?
The one right next to Chevron. This is Elliot. Right next to it.
Azalea? And what kind of neighborhood is that?
It's trailer park.
It's a trailer park.
Yes.
Okay. And when you were in the trailer park, you pulled right back out.
Yes. I pulled it in and I pulled it out.
So why does video surveillance show you stopping
Stopping to get that order job.
within the trailer park?
Getting the order job.
You're not near the Chevron.
No, she lives in Chevron. Pulled in. Misty, the one who gave me, I gave her as much information.
Well, let's talk about that, okay? Because Missy hadn't talked to you.
Yeah, she has.
She hasn't talked to you in quite some time.
Yeah, she
Yes,
has.
she did not have a conversation with you about the order job.
Yes.
So in your mind, you've looked at all these timestamps and plausibly you came up with a story that is partly true.
No, that is
But
true.
there's very, very many missing pieces, right? And in your story, you haven't been completely honest about where you were at and why you were there.
I was 100% honest about where I was at. I showed the Life 360. I told them I even gave her the order job that she gave me.
Right, and that didn't happen. We've already interviewed this.
I got the order job. That didn't happen. She had that moment inside her mouth. That's the reason why I got stuck for it.
You have to stop saying this. It did not happen.
Yes, it did.
Right? And Lonnie, right? To get through this, you're gonna have to talk about what happened.
I'm told everybody what happened.
And where you took Quinton.
I didn't take him anywhere.
Okay?
I didn't take him anywhere. He was at the house. He was in that bed. I was just here out of the station where I'm in the bed. The only thing that I sit there possibly maybe someone is when I came back in after I smoked a cigarette and I may not have shut that door all the way. And that's how I maybe made a
Okay, it's on normal speed. She's just really hard to hear because she's screaming in this echoey room. And look at her visceral reaction. She instantly gets amped up trying to defend herself, screaming and yelling. I know, Choctaw, it was really hard. I was reading the closed captioning to keep up with it. She's trying to solidify her lie by saying, yes, Quentin was at home. I went and got the Orajel. I came in and the door was not open when I got there, basically, is what she was saying. But she's screaming, raging, and acting a fool.
And I'm sticking to everything that I've said because I'm telling the truth. I question everything.
The door was closed.
No, that's what they say, but the door was open. And Danny said that when he left, that the door, our door that they said was open from 2:30 to 5:44 was shut when we left. I think my system was messed up. And that's what I told them because the door was open when I got home and my baby was not in that bed.
Well, honey, the door wasn't open.
Yes, it was.
And look,
Yes, it was. The door was open.
you said like you would never hurt or harm
No.
Quentin.
No, I wouldn't.
And in this circumstance, something happened,
No.
right?
No, I did not. Nothing happened when he was in my care. I did not hurt him. I did not take him anywhere. I went to bed with that baby in that bed and I got up with him gone. Okay?
Okay.
I am devastated. I've seen him being questioned. Now, last night, my own husband was questioning me, making me question myself. Well, did you shut that door? Are you sure you're not the reason that something could happen? I mean, it's stuff like that.
Well, you keep telling yourself this story over and over. We're done with that story, right? And you can keep trying to convince yourself, but the evidence does not point to that, right? You try to put a timeline together to cover up.
I didn't try to nothing good. I had
what happened that night, and you're the only one that can tell us what happened.
And you said everything that I know. Like, I didn't even listen to what he was shaking me.
Leilani, listen to me. You told me how you felt when you and your mom were abandoned on the side of the road. Right?
That was
scared, right? So as a mother, look, we just want to find Quentin.
Yes.
Right?
We do. We all do. I've been asking help, searching everything.
And they have been. They're still out there searching, right? But you can help us find him, right? I 100% believe that. You can help us find him.
He was in bed with my
Okay. So when you left and you drove through the trailer park and you stopped for a while.
I just stopped for a while.
What was going through your mind?
Let's go through the mind, get the seat, get the Orajel, because I did speak to her and I did get Orajel.
So you did not talk to Missy?
Yes, I did.
We've already talked about that.
I spoke to Missy.
And until you start being 100% honest with me, you're going down the same road, okay? We're not getting anywhere. You said you wanted to be healthy.
I do. Right? That's why I've done everything I can, and I don't know where my baby is. Okay, I don't know.
Right. So
I did not hurt him, but I don't know where he's at. He was in that bed when I woke up.
So, what we do know is that when you pulled into the trailer park, you stopped. Right? I can't imagine what was going through your mind at that time, right? Where you were trying to make a decision.
No, I stopped for, I was gone from the house for a total of 12 minutes. I stopped for 2 minutes. I was getting the Orajel from her.
Right.
Pulled around, and there she was.
You didn't see Misty.
Yes, I did.
You stopped for 2 minutes, so in that 2 minutes, you weren't getting Orajel for Misty.
Yes.
I know you were sitting there thinking about what you're going to do with Quentin.
No, I was not.
Something had already happened.
No, it was not. That baby was in our bed when I went to bed. Danny seen him when he left to go to work. Okay? So no, he was home. He was in our bed. He was asleep.
Right. And we both know that's not true.
He is true. He was home. He was even Danny. Even he said he seen him before he went to work. So I don't understand how that's not the truth. Or how I could have done something to him. When something in the morning? That's literally physically impossible when he was seen that morning.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
I don't know about my baby.
So Danny told us that he can't 100% confirm that he actually saw Quentin in the crib that morning.
So he told me that he 100% said he's seen him.
He's told us that he cannot say that. Right?
He was in that
And
bed.
that's different than the first night, right? No, you guys talked to the police because you put that in your statement.
Oh, now that's hella interesting. We've always heard that Danny saw Quentin before going to work, but we've never actually heard anything out of Danny's mouth. He kept quiet, and they haven't played his interviews yet. But here Lemons is telling her Danny's never testified or never said that. Danny's never said that. You said Danny told you that. Oh my gosh.
That morning, he cannot 100% say that he saw Quentin that morning. And so that leaves another hole in your story, right?
No, that's what he told me. That he got a white call. I'm screaming and yelling, "Where's my baby?
I'm telling you
Where's my
right now,
baby?"
that's not the case. Because we know that you know what happened.
I do not know what happened. I don't.
Right?
I don't know where he is. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know where the fuck he would be gone. He was in the bed when I went to sleep, and I went down as it was gone. I was freaking out, screaming, yelling, crying, throwing the air, and searching my house.
As many times as you repeat that story, it doesn't make it true.
But it is true.
It's not true.
It is.
Right? And you just talk about how much you love your
I
kids.
do. I love them all, but that is true.
And you want to help us find Quentin.
Yes.
And you can do that.
And I'm trying.
Right?
I'm trying. Which is why I get my phone. Which is why I got property because I have been. I do not know where my baby is. And I wish I did because he'd be right here.
Right.
He really would.
And if you
I'm being angry right now because I did not do anything with my child.
If you really want to help us find Quentin, help me keep that promise with you. Tell us where he's at.
I've told y'all everything. Y'all
You want to keep that promise?
Yes, I'm keeping it because I told y'all everything. I even gave y'all the only thing I had to track every single place that I've gone to. Every single place. For months I showed y'all where I went to.
Months?
Yeah, on that last 360.
Oh, 360.
Yes, it shows my route.
We're concerned about.
It shows my stops. I did not do anything with that child. He was in that bed when I went to bed.
We're concerned about that night, okay? Because the inconsistency of your story and evidence shows otherwise, including the interview with Misty. You can say you talked to her all day long, but that is not true.
It is.
It's true you went into the trailer parks. We had videos of this
It's
stuff.
true that I got the ordeal from her because I have the ordeal in the closet.
It's true that you parked in the trailer park.
I stopped for 2 seconds to get the ordeal.
You said 2 minutes.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
I was gone for a total of 12 minutes from the house.
Right, and you stopped in front of the dumpster.
No.
Yes.
Then I really stopped next to it.
No.
I didn't stop in front of it. That was the front of the neighborhood. Right there is the front of the neighborhood.
Okay.
I don't know what my baby is.
Okay. So, we're putting together bits and pieces from what you originally told us with the evidence we've played so far.
I don't know what
You
it is.
know where Quentin.
I do
You
not.
know what happened.
I do not. I do not. I really do not know what happened to him.
Right?
He was in that bed when I went to sleep. I wrote down devastated and I have a child there. He's normally the first one standing up. He's normally the first one standing up looking at you smiling when you get up in the morning.
Look, Lonnie, I can't imagine how you felt that night, right? I'm not in your shoes of being frustrated, being a mom, 3 kids, running a household, right? You're in pain, you're in an argument with Danny, I haven't been in that situation, but I think you could help me understand what that was like and what kind of got you to the point of really what happened in that house that night.
Nothing happened.
But
Nothing happened.
nobody thinks you're a horrible person.
Because I didn't do him. I didn't do anything. I didn't take him anywhere. That baby was at that house all night long.
But given circumstances, things happen, and we don't mean for them to. Okay? Doesn't make you a horrible person. It makes you a human being.
I don't know where he's at, and I want him home. I did not take him nowhere. The last time he was in that car was when I picked him up about 4:30 in the afternoon.
And as a mother, going through this, like I said, sometimes things happen and we don't mean for them to. It doesn't mean anything was done intentionally. But like I said, you were going through a lot that night.
I did baby. I don't know where he is.
Being in that situation, sometimes people panic.
That is my final answer to y'all's question. I did not hurt him. I do not know where he was. And the last person that told me that he 100% seen him in that bed when I called him and asked him where Quinton was Danny. That is my last thing I've got to say. Their story has not changed. I did out everything that I could. I've gone through this over and over and over and over and over.
I'm trying to explain to you that there's inconsistencies in your story.
But I've told everything.
And it doesn't add up. It really doesn't.
Who says there's a piece of the puzzle missing? But it's not me.
It's you.
It's not.
It's absolutely.
It's not me.
It is absolutely you. And you can repeat that over and over and over again. It doesn't make it true.
It's not me. It's not me. I did not do anything, my baby. I put him in bed. I set out his clothes for the next morning. I didn't do anything to him.
I want to help tell your story. Like I said, you're a normal person. You have 3 kids. You obviously love them. You talk about bathing them that night, playing with them, putting them to bed. That shows a caring mother.
I didn't do anything, my baby. And if I didn't, just like I told my mother, y'all would have already had him. And I would already be behind bars myself. But I didn't do anything to that child. I had me questioning. Are you sure that you shut that door? Are you sure that you shut it all the way? If you don't shut it all the way, the thing would just stop coming.
Right.
I don't know. You got to push it really hard. I was loopy on my medication. Loopy as hell. I had to use Life 360 just to make sure that my times were right about when I left the house and got home.
Right. And that helps set up a timeline. But like I said, you're not being 100% completely honest with us. And I want to help Leilani tell her story about what happened, right? When we have circumstances like this, sometimes things happen. We don't mean them to. Doesn't make us a bad person. But this has been in the news a lot, right?
It's been all over.
It's.
I've been harassed at the hospital about it. Got people up in my face yelling at me.
So what did they say at the hospital?
What did they say? You're not worthy of being a mother. If anything should have happened to anybody, it should have happened to you.
Right. So
I said I agree.
Let me tell you about. Let me go over that with you, okay? You have an opportunity to tell me what happened, because that's how society's going to see you. It is Leilani, this monster that deliberately did this, or was Leilani just in a situation that got out of control, right? And it was out of control before she knew it, right? And there was no coming back from it.
I'm not a piece of the puzzle, you understand? I was in my bed. Danny said he shook me. He said he checked on all the kids. He said he's seen them all. That's what he told me when I called him at 9-something, screaming that I couldn't find my baby.
So here's your statement, Leilani. I read through it. And it's like a note down here. It says, please do everything possible to bring our little man home, right? Bring him home to me, please. And that's what we're trying to do, right? And you can keep denying all this and sticking to that story. But both you and I know that you can make that happen.
If I could, I already would have.
Right? You can make this
happen. If I could, I already would have.
You absolutely can make this happen.
I can't. Because I don't know where he is, and I don't know what happened to him. Do I believe that something happened that night? Yes. Was it me? No. It was not.
Okay, so let's talk about that. What was it?
I don't know. He was asleep before I left the house at all after we picked him up. He was asleep in that playpen. Then he verified that too.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So, okay, let's talk about that. Let me go grab that and I'll be right back, okay? Is that cool? You brought it up. we'll talk about it, okay? Let me make sure they can look.
Someone pause there and answer Katie B's question. So on Live 360, you have circles or groups. So when she downloaded it on the phone, could she have joined a group that Billy Joe was a manager of? It's not called manager. What's it called? Hang on, let me open mine real quick. She could have, but we saw earlier in this trial where she asked Danny to join her circle. So, hang on, my husband's the one on ours. I don't know what it's called. I don't see it. But yeah, like, I don't know why the manager. So Billy Joe might have had her own circle where she was the manager of and asked Leilani to join it, but we know she had other circles that she had friends join as well, which like my daughter does that as well as she's in our circle, but on her phone she's the manager of a circle of her and her friends. So it kind of flows in and out.
So let's go over some things, okay? You keep saying when we're talking about Quinton missing, right? You keep talking about he was there the first time he came back.
Yeah, he was there every time.
Okay. Let's talk about the second time he came back.
He was there when I started smoking cigarette before I did. I checked on all the kids. Like, move his hair in his face. He gonna move the ground and blanket, so I'm up to it. And when I started smoking my cigarette, and when it started, I went to bed.
And the timeline is showing us, so when you drive through the trailer park and you park, that's not in any of your statements. Your statements are you went to the Chevron.
That's exactly.
Okay.
That's when I was so around. I didn't think I had to explain how I pulled it out and left. That's the only reason I wasn't in there. I didn't think I had to explain how I pulled out and left. I just had to explain where I went.
Right. Well, it's completely different, right? So let's go through when you got back. What did you do?
Oh, went outside, smoked a cigarette, went to bed. That was after I checked on Quinton, and Zane, and Scott. All three.
All three.
I checked on all three of them.
Okay, so the second time you came back, Quinton was in his playpen.
He was in his playpen.
And
he had his hair hanging out in front of his face right here. I knew it. His face said, okay, rolled over, and he grabbed one blanket and was asleep.
right. And you keep mentioning that you were loopy. Why were you loopy if you're on ibuprofen?
Because they had
Because ibuprofen
they injected my mouth with 3 different shots when they gave it to me. One was to kind of sedate me, one was to numb it. I don't know what the other one was.
Okay. Those are all surface pain medicines, right? Get you through the surgery.
I don't know.
But ibuprofen doesn't make you loopy.
I was like, that the medicine and everything that they had, and they had put more. They injected me twice with it because I was still numb. It wasn't numb.
Right. So we need to unmask what it is that happened, right? And we gotta get there.
Yes.
And you have to help me do that.
I'm helping everything I can. I did not leave my baby. He was in my bed when I went to sleep, and when I got up, he was gone. When I called Daniel and asked him, is for some reason did you just take the put him to the babysitters or what? Where's he at? Where's my baby? And he said no, he was there when I left the house. I said, well, he's not here now. So he left work and called babysitter.
We've gone over that several times, right? And that's the story you keep repeating over and over and over. And the thing about 8 and 8:59 in the morning, yeah, you probably did have that conversation with him. But we're talking about the night of Quinton going missing, right?
He was in that bed.
And what truly happened
He was in that bed.
in that house.
He was in that bed when I went to sleep. When me and my mom were sitting there trying to discuss what happened between 2:30 and 5:44 when that back door was supposedly open.
Let's talk about back door, right?
That's what I wanted. That's what me and her were confused about it.
So you're talking about, going through the night, you left about 10:30 to go to 204 to get $20 or pay somebody $20. Okay. And who are you paying the $20 to?
Red.
And what for?
For weed.
For weed.
Yeah, I would have $20.
Okay. And then you return back home.
Yes.
Okay, so when you return back home, that's the first time you return back home that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And
I
in
was
that,
laying on the bed watching TV. The kids were laying down, fainting on his tablet. Quinton was asleep, and Sky was fussy, but she was having one.
okay, and then we talk about when we get into later on in the night, and you talk about your statement too. You talk about the, I think you and Danny had an argument too at some point in time.
Right? It was because of the lack of sexual tension that I was getting frustrated with, which was the whole reason why I left anyways, and came up with the reason we did.
Okay. So you got back, so you got back up with Danny, and then you got back up at some point.
Yeah, because I couldn't get comfortable.
You couldn't get comfortable. And when you got back, I mean, take me through, and in general, I don't need times or anything like that, just in general.
I was uncomfortable. I was laying there for a little while. It was like almost 2 hours. I was laying there. I couldn't get to sleep. My ear was just hurting. I got contact with the order gel. At first, I called Circle Pain. They didn't have any order gel. So that's why I got contact with her. Came out there, rode up the road, pulled in, put in the neighborhood, got it, pulled her down.
Okay.
And I went home. And I went home, and when I was outside the front door, smoked a cigarette, shut the door, went to bed.
Okay, so the second time you came home.
And I did check on Quinton before I went outside all 3 of them because it's hard not to. The doors are here, here's Quinton, here's Scott, and here's Zane.
So you're back home, and then, after you got back home around 2 o'clock, the dining room door opened and closed again. Is that what you're talking about, the cigarette?
No, my cigarettes, I got home at like 1:25. I was home before 2. I was laying down before 2 o'clock.
Okay.
So I went outside, smoked a cigarette, came back in, and I didn't know anything about that door. Danny didn't say anything about it either until the officers or whatever came. And they said that door was open from 2:30 in the morning to 5:44. I was asleep. And 5:44 was when Danny left the house for work. He said that the door wasn't even open when he left.
Okay. So it says dining room sensor left open.
Yeah.
Okay, that could mean the door's not completely just shut off. It's not that it's wide open, it's just that it's
He
not locked.
said that it was like locked.
It was locked.
Like, he didn't show it. It wasn't open.
Okay, so the second time you came back, you saw Quinton.
Yes, he was laying there.
And describe Quinton for me.
He was laying there. At first it was like this. Because hair, he's got curly hair, paint all over his eyes. So when I moved that his leg, he would roll over, grab his leg, and went to sleep. Right back to sleep.
And you talked a couple times about the color of his skin.
Yes, his little cheeks, they're red, like a pink red.
Pink?
Yeah,
Are they normally pink?
Yeah, normally, he normally has some type of color to him. Normally, he's just an active child, but the way he was sleeping, or whatever, the plaything, I was basically maybe was pushing up against his cheeks, but he was fine, he was moving, breathing, he rolled over, his little cheeks, it's just like he was sleeping good, you know? He was just fine, woke up, he wasn't there.
And you talked about how you could see like something can happen like this. Why would you think that? Like sometimes in these situations, people blame themselves, right?
I blame myself because what if I didn't shut that door off?
I'm not talking about the door, I'm talking about Quinton, right?
Yeah.
Something happened to Quinton.
But I didn't do it.
Right, but you agree, something happened.
Everybody agrees something happened.
And we have to
figure out what, and I'm not the one who is what.
You are part of it.
I'm part of it, but I'm not the one who did anything to him.
Right.
I did not take him anywhere.
Right.
I didn't do anything. I didn't
Listen, I understand you getting emotional. When we start talking about getting down to really what happened, when you start getting really, really emotional, I get it, right? There's a lot, Leilani, you're holding on to, and that's got to be hard.
I'm not the only thing.
You're holding on to so much right now.
I'm not holding on to anything. I've been open about everything.
You're holding on to so much right now, and I don't know how you're doing that. Like I said, I want you to help me understand where you were at that night, right? And how we got to this point, right? And
I said everything I could. I cannot tell you what happened while I was asleep. I don't know.
This didn't happen while you were asleep.
It has to. He was there when I went to bed.
You can't get loopy off ibuprofen.
That wasn't the ibuprofen. It's whatever they injected my mouth with.
Okay.
It's whatever that was. It wasn't the ibuprofen. It's whatever they injected my mouth with. Okay? Which is why I couldn't even drive home from getting it removed. I wasn't allowed to drive. Danny had to drive me.
Okay. And so we're talking about that was like 4:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And so now we're talking about
It's later at night. I'm tired. I'm getting sore.
hours later, right?
I'm tired. I'm getting sore now.
Has worn off and
I go to lay down. I was tired too. The night before I was up all night. I went to the hospital because of pain. Yeah. Before I went back to the room.
so in these situations, and I already told you this, people get in these situations and they don't make the things happen, but sometimes it does. Bad things do happen, and sometimes bad things happen to people that are the sweetest and nicest people, right?
I didn't do anything to cause my baby to go missing.
Right. And you keep saying that over and over and over, and I get as a human being, right, that we don't want to be responsible for something.
I'm not responsible for what happened to him.
Especially for our own child, right? But if we can't protect them then, right, we got to protect them now. And like I said, I want to keep your promise. You said, you want to find them. Right? Help me help you.
Help me.
Like, help me help you keep that promise.
I'm giving everything that I can, everything that I'm recalling, everything. I'm giving you what I can. I was even the last one. He said to me, he was the last one to see him. Which is why I was 100% certain that he was there when he left. And when I got up at 9, that's why I kept thinking something happened between that 3-hour period.
And also, a lot of people convince themselves after they tell the story so many times, right? Because they don't want to feel the guilt. And look, I know you feel the guilt. Because every time we get close to talking about that timeline where you were at, that's where you get the most emotional.
It's not.
And that's where
that's being accused of doing something to my own child. That's the emotion.
Right.
I didn't do anything to my own baby.
Now, did that interview come to an end shortly after what we just watched there?
Yes, it did.
Thank you. I have some more questions, but maybe this would be a good stopping point.
We'll stop here. I know we have a ways to go as far as the testimony. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's stop here. We're going to break for lunch. I'm going to remind you once again, do not discuss the case. Do not do any research. Do not consume any media, watch any stories. Do not allow anyone to talk with you about the case. We're going to break now, and it's 1:20. I know y'all have a very short walk. We're going to be ready to go at 2:30. All right, you're excused.
Jury's exiting.
All right, thank you, Deputy Birch. All right, so let's take a break. We'll be back at 2:30, ready to start again. We're in recess.
Okay, so if they come back at 2:30, does that mean we have to wait until 3 before they actually start airing it, Bendy, or I'm curious. Right, so it would actually be, yeah, 2. Be like an hour from now. Okay. I might go ahead and take a break and then hop back on at or here, let me go ahead and switch back and finish playing the judge's decision so we can kind of end that. We were talking about it earlier. And then I'm going to take a break and I'll start a new stream up at 2. I need to get some things done, like take the dogs out and make a couple of phone calls. So I'm going to go ahead and end and take a little break too. So here is what Miss or the Honorable Judge Stokes, her decision with the text messages between Red Greg, Lover Dealer, and Leilani.
That was a little bit more of a break. Motion in limine with regards to text messages that the state intends to present and admit into evidence. I've heard and considered the arguments for both. At this time, the court does find that the unredacted version of the text messages is inadmissible. I went through and read all of the text messages. The sexual and salacious nature of some of the text messages in exhibit are not relevant to the charged conduct. Now, after applying the balancing test, 403 balancing test, court finds that the probative value is that the prejudicial matters outweigh at this time the probative value. So they're not going to come in at this time. Now, if things change, the court will consider it, but at this time, that's the court ruling. Madam Clerk, I'm going to pass down State's Exhibit 83.
So she says at this time, I went ahead and set the stream so you guys will know exactly when it is. But she says at this time, and then later she goes on to say that it's because the texts are so malicious that she doesn't want, like, they're too graphic. But I don't know. I wonder if they can work them in somehow. Maybe if they redact them. I'm not sure, but that's what I was wondering. So if they come back in an hour, do we still have to wait another half an hour? No, because we're already 30 minutes behind. Gotcha. Perfect. Okay, so we're good. All right. I think we got it figured out. If I need to move it, I'll move it, but I am absolutely gonna run and take the dogs. They've been so calm this morning. I haven't heard Archer bark once. So he deserves a little walk real quick. Yes, new stream, Grandma Sherry. I've got it set up. It's going to be different for every time zone. It's 1 hour from now. So I'll see you guys back after lunch and we'll see what comes out because I think some more juicy stuff's going to come out today. All right, guys. I'll see ya in an hour. Bye.